bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man, it went down today, didn't it? Today is Saturday, December 16th. 350 days into the new year, just 15 days left. We are coming to you live tonight from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, this is a very special event. Want to thank KGRA for breaking into their regularly scheduled programming to bring you this live special event on Disclosure. It went down today. We're going to be talking about all of that. I'm going to open up the phone lines. I want to hear from all of you. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. At JChurchRadio. I've got everything is up and running. We put this together in the last 30 minutes. Got the phone call from New York. Rita says, go with this. This is too big of a deal. You've got to go live with this tonight. So we did that. Also, the KGRA studios in New York pulled this off too as well. So we should be live on KGRA. The chat rooms are open over at KGRA and Spreaker. Of course, Twitter is live in front of me, and I can see that everybody is here. It was a crazy day today. Okay, now if you want to participate in the sandbox, you can do that too. Hashtag F2B on Twitter. I am going to also do this. I'm going to try to do this as commercial-free as possible. The thing is, doing a live special event like this, it's very important. But also, you know, going 1 or 2 or 3 hours straight without commercials, even I need a break. Okay, so we'll play this out. I don't know how long we're going to go live tonight. I will say this. We will break on, when we end the show, we'll end it hard on the hour. I know that KGRA is listening to me, and also TalkStream Live, and all of our other syndicators out there are listening to me too. So we should be live everywhere. Now, the other point that I want to make is to the networks, when we end the show, we will end at the top of the hour. Okay, we'll wind things down and allow programming to continue. Okay, so I'm your host, Jimmy Church. The day broke early today with the New York Times breaking out with a pretty incredible story. Now, what the New York Times had to say, I'll get to all of that in just a second. And like I said, I will also be taking your phone calls. Immediately after the New York Times did their story, which was on everything, and there were some things in there. Yes, it was about disclosure. It was about UFOs, but their news that broke was that the Pentagon has had a black budget UFO program that was funded by Senator Harry Reid. That was a big deal. It has not been spoken about or revealed at all. Now, of course, we've always suspected something like this, but to have that go down in a very public way was insane. But it did, and it happened. Also, in the New York Times article, they posted the video of the Tic-Tac UFO, the gun camera footage of the FA-18s that were with the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier off the coast of California down in San Diego that were on some routine training missions when this unidentified object started to ascend and descend from high in the atmosphere and go down to the seabed, the surface of the ocean, and sit there and cause a disturbance on the ocean. And they tracked it and they filmed it. Those videos were released. They were leaked onto the net back in October. When they were leaked onto the net, there was no audio. Today, we got the audio with the transcriptions of the pilots talking now and the flight controllers. Pretty insane video. So all of that happened today. What does this mean? Is this disclosure? Well, okay. Disclosure is a strange word, but for this to go down today and to get picked up by all of the mainstream media outlets, and I do mean all of them, it went, and it went big, and there you go. Now, I released this statement earlier today. I will read it in its entirety. Disclosure. What does it truly mean? Today was a big day for sure. The New York Times, the USA Today, the BBC, Fox, the Business Insider, Politico, most of the mainstream media went with the story. Harry Reid, the Pentagon, the CIA, black UFO budgets, the Navy Tic-Tac video. Okay, so now it's out there in a big way. Tom DeLonge and To the Stars are starting to deliver. Will it continue? I know that there will be those in our UFO community that will say Tom is being used, that this is all a part of a bigger conspiracy. I can already hear it all playing out. But let me just say, this is the first time that this kind of exposure has happened. Nobody has pulled off anything like this before. Nobody. There is much jealousy in the UFO community. So, when you read or hear the negative stuff that will be said over the coming days and weeks, remember these words. Seriously. We've all wanted something like this to happen, and now it has. Enjoy the moment. I think that it's about to get crazier, and everybody in our community should stand together and glow. When you read or hear anybody being negative about today's events, just squint your eyes. Just squint them. And ask yourself, why would you say this? Why are you jealous? Are you upset that someone else got this done? Are you bummed out that it wasn't you? Do you really need to attack someone for this because your own ego got hurt? And the answer to all of these questions are yes, 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 and yes. There are researchers and authors in our community that are happy right now. Right? They get it. All of it. This is what they've wanted. No matter who or how it was done, it's been done. End of story. Seriously. And that's my statement. And I stand by it. I know that leading up to today, there has been a lot of critics of Tom DeLonge. I've listened to some of it. Some of it's been emailed to me and so forth. I've followed it a little bit, but I expected that. The UFO community is full of jealousy. And there are so many inside of the UFO community that think they are part of the community, that are trying to make a footprint in the community. And they think that being negative or saying that they know it all and nobody else knows anything and don't listen to this guy, because you know what? That part of the community is jealous. And I don't get it and I don't understand it. They don't want anybody else to do these things. Now, this today broke in the mainstream media across the board around the world. This has not been done like this ever before. Now, Tom DeLonge and To the Stars Media and Academy have pulled this off. Many have said that he couldn't or wouldn't, or that he was being used, or that this was disinfo, or that this is another part of the conspiracy, and Tom is too naive to know what's going on, and I heard all of, and then the other criticisms out there about this, that they know who is, they know Tom, nobody knows anything. Okay, it's that simple. Tom knows what's going on inside of To the Stars. He's assembled his team. He has put the team together, and he has said that today was going to happen. To just be patient. Well, it did. Now, whether it's his influence because he's got a lot of money, he's a rock star, and he was able to pull the media together and have a PR and all this professionalism behind. Well, you know what? He did do just that, and that's what's most important here. You have to understand. Also, in the background, if you hear something coming over to the bunker today, this was impromptu. I just loaded everybody into the car and brought them here, and they're now running crazy outside. Anyway. That's what's most important. It doesn't matter how or who this was pulled off. Okay? Tom did it. And never in the mainstream media, not CNN, not Larry King, not like this. It has never happened. Now, where does this go from here? Does the mainstream media stay on board? Is there more stuff to follow? That footage on the F-18, even though it was revealed back in October, which didn't have the audio, but today the way that it was released and the way that it was handled was correct. And to dovetail that with the Harry Reid news and the Pentagon and excess of $20 million funded in a black budget program into this is some of the biggest news ever in the history of everything. So that's what went down today. How this moves forward, I don't know. The thing that I ask from everybody in this community is to sit back, take a deep breath, enjoy the moment, and let's see how it plays out. Okay, there is enough people that are involved with Tom and To the Stars that the amount of information that could potentially come forward directly connected to the CIA and the Pentagon and black budget programs and other video footage and documents and everything else that we thought that wouldn't happen, well, it has. Okay, this is a very, very, very big day. The fact that the UFO community has been ignored by the mainstream media forever is important here. They chose to run with the story. Drudge ran with the story. They chose to run with it. This hasn't happened before. Now, I have said many, many, many times, I have asked so many in the media, journalists, professionals in broadcast about this very important subject about UFOs. Nobody will touch it. Now, I directly asked somebody who worked for CNN. I literally said, hey, you get a story about UFOs and you want to, what happens? Do you go to no, nothing. I wouldn't do it. What do you mean? It just doesn't get covered. We don't do it. Well, what if your news director had a story and came to you? He wouldn't. She wouldn't. It doesn't work that way. UFOs are not covered in the mainstream media. That's it. It's the end of the story. Now, that's the way that everything has been handled. It wasn't that way today. I posted throughout the day as things started to break all of the mainstream outlets that ran with this story. Of course, the first was the New York Times. Leslie Kean, glowing, now this is the headline, glowing auras and black money, the Pentagon's mysterious UFO program. Immediately after that, within minutes, okay, this is what ended up happening. We've got Fox News ran with it, not only on the internet, but ran with it with normal television programming. Pentagon secretly set up program to investigate UFOs at Harry Reid's urging. The Defense Department secretly set up 10 years ago to investigate unidentified flying objects or UFOs at the urging of then Democratic Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. Immediately after that, Politico, the Pentagon's secret search for UFOs, funded at the request of Harry Reid. There you go. Immediately after that, the New York Post, the Pentagon's UFO program revealed. For 5 years, from 2007 to 2012, the Pentagon ran a $22 million program that investigated reports on UFOs. The Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program was the brainchild of Senator Harry Reid. Immediately after that, USA Today, the Pentagon is tracking UFOs thanks in part to former Senator Harry Reid. Now, Harry's from Nevada, too. That's interesting. Bigelow's also mentioned in this article. Also interesting as well. Okay? Business Insider. The Business Insider. The Pentagon spent $22 million on a shadowy program to investigate UFOs. Incredible day. BBC releases their story. U.S. secret UFO program revealed. U.S. media reports say that documents from the operation describe strange aircrafts and hovering objects. It was an incredible day. Has disclosure arrived? Has it arrived? I think it has. Is this enough to silence all of those out there? I know, I'm telling you, I know that there are going to be our fair share of trolls, of bots, of those inside of the CIA and the Pentagon that are going to go out and via social media and counteract all of this. That's going to happen. I think that we have to really, really use our discernment. There are going to be attacks. It's going to happen. And those that have been critical about all of this leading up to this point now have to take a step back. Okay? To the Stars and Tom DeLonge, yes, have started to deliver. There are those out there that have been critical of Tom up to this point that didn't think that this day was ever going to happen. They just felt that that was the way that it was. And to have the New York Times run with this is very important. It got picked up by every mainstream media there is. Now, this is the other point. We've wanted this. This today is something that we have called for and asked for a very long time. Now, going back to the hearings in Congress and the Condon report and different reports and Blue Book, Grudge, all of these projects over the years that have been dealing with this, right? They only went to a certain point and stopped. All of it. None of it was covered in the mainstream. Nothing at all. And you have to understand and appreciate and respect what I am saying here. It has never done what it has done today. So, I have asked everybody to just sit back and glow in the moment. How do you feel right now? How do you feel? After a day like today, with everything that has gone down, in this rapid-fire fashion. How do you feel? I think you should be happy. Is it enough? Now, this is the other point that I think needs to be stressed here, and I will. I'm going to go ahead and let me see here what's happening. Okay, are we good? Yes. Yes. I'm sorry, I'm getting text from the network. Okay. Hold on. I'm sorry. Things are going down very fast. Okay. This outreach by the mainstream media, listen to me, and this is where it's most important. The reach of the New York Times, of USA Today, of the BBC, Drudge Report, Politico, the Business Insider, Fox. We are talking about tens of millions. Tens of millions of people that not only don't research or read about or pursue the UFO subject, certainly know nothing about black budgets. This is a subject that goes on inside of our community. We discuss it all the time. We are up on top of it. But outside of our community that goes out, they don't concern themselves with this. They don't pursue it. If it arrives to them, then they read about it. Then they do a little bit of research and maybe raise a red flag or two or get concerned. But they don't go and pursue this. Everybody's too busy. And if you have the mainstream media flood the internet and television with breaking news like this, now we are talking about disclosure. Not the disclosure that we may want inside of our community, but we did get it today, didn't we? But that's the reach where this went out today, and now questions are going to have to be answered. That's what we have wanted. Yes, disclosure inside of our community. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Having the president step up to the podium and speak directly into the cameras, right? The question of alien contact has been answered. No. No. That's inside of our community. That outside of our community, this is a big deal. This is a very, very, very big day. And it's a day that I can assure you, and I've said this before, you will look back and remember this day. I promise you that. It's a big deal. Now, from here on out, if you hear the negativity, I will stand up to it. If you hear the negativity, anybody out there that is talking negative about this day is somebody that wants to run interference and wants to make a name for themselves and wants to keep their ego in play. Those out there, the researchers, the authors, the show host, everybody out there that is happy today, that's who you need to pay attention to. That's somebody that deserves your respect because it's what they have wanted. It's a team effort. We've got to pull this off. How others are dealing with this right now, I would love to hear from Stephen Bassett. I would love to hear from Stephen Greer right now. Hey, you know what? I might be able to get them on the show here. That's why I need to take some breaks. But that's really the truth. If they are happy about this, if they are ecstatic, then they're on board because they have pushed for this day. Anybody else out there, and this is where your discernment comes into play. Anybody else out there that chooses to talk smack or say that they know the truth, that they have an insider, or they know this or they know that, that's where you need to back up. You either are on board with this fully or not. Somebody shot me an email a little bit ago and said, Jimmy, how do we know that this footage is real? Right? And I'm just like, wait a minute here. You know? Jimmy, have you had the chance to look into it's gun camera footage of an object? And let me tell you, the first video where you can hear the pilots talking, and the FA-18 is turning left, and you can see the clouds, and you can see the speed of this object and how it's moving. Apparently into the wind. They were saying the wind is at 120 knots. I guess it's that high, the altitude. But nonetheless, this object, which is holding steady, turns. It rotates. Now, the rotation is controlled. Have you seen this in the video? It's controlled, and it stops on a dime. Just stops. It doesn't look like, to me, to my eyes, that it is flying, with air, like we fly conventionally in an analog sense with engines and propellers and thrust moving air over an airfoil, where you're going to see it, just kind of no. That just turned. It rotated and stopped. Like there was some other kind of crazy control going on. When I saw it, I didn't even know what my eyes were looking at. It looked like it was a video game. Like it was being controlled like you would see something be controlled on a screen, electronically, and it was suspended. I don't even know how to explain it. Because if it was something that was blasting through the air and was being held up by air and airfoils, you would see a slow adjustment. You would see it affected. You would see it move around a little. No, it just and stopped. That was bizarre. Now imagine you as an F-18 fighter pilot that is used to identifying objects out there and knowing and reading your radar and your telemetry and your data that's coming in, and you're seeing all of this where you normally are identifying other craft out there, friend or foe, and you're identifying and you see the movements and you can see what's going on. You know what you're looking at. And to see something like that, you don't know what you're looking at, and they didn't, and you can hear the confusion in their voice. And to see that rotation and then to have it stop in such an unnatural way, that was not of this earth. No. And if it was Chinese or Russian, some crazy technology, we are way behind the ball. Because our pilots definitely didn't know what we were looking at. All right, I'm going to open up the phone lines. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. 323-275-9695. What did you think about the video? Have you read all of the articles out there? Have you been impressed by the way the mainstream media chose to cover disclosure today? Do you think disclosure has arrived, by the way? That's the other thing. Was this disclosure? I think it's disclosure for everybody else, right? Outside of our UFO community, I think they're in shock. I don't even think they know how to deal with this. All right? I'm going to... let's just go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, my name's Ricky.
Hey, Ricky, how are you?
I'm doing really good. How are you, Jimmy?
I'm doing good. Where are you calling from?
I'm from Fargo, North Dakota.
Fargo, North Dakota. Right on, man. Is it cold?
Oh, it's really cold today, Jimmy. 20 degrees.
That's what it was 80 degrees here in Los Angeles today. I don't want to bum you out. In a weird way, I wish I was there with you. Okay, so how's that? All right, roll up.
That sounds good.
Can you roll up your window or whatever that noise is?
Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Is that better?
Not yet, but we'll get there. Okay, so what's on your mind tonight, Ricky?
Well, my dad is a former F-16 pilot that used to fly for the Air National Guard, and I was showing him the footage that got released today, and he said it was totally legit. It was definitely looked like good HUD tapes, and he could not identify what this object was. He said he'd never seen anything like that before. and it was just pretty crazy stuff.
He was impressed?
He was very, very impressed.
Has he ever seen a UFO?
He has never seen a UFO, but my uncle was also an F-16 pilot, and he flew the F-4 as well. And in I think it was 99, when he was flying his F-4, he actually chased unidentified aerial phenomena and had his HUD tapes confiscated the next day.
Wow. That's, he should call into the show sometime. Hey, Ricky, so how do you feel? Today was a pretty big day, wasn't it?
Oh, it was an amazing day. I feel great.
You do, and you should. I'm glad you do. Do you think that the mainstream media handled this right? I myself am pretty impressed that they just covered it at all. But how do you feel about that?
I think they did a pretty good job. There was a couple of news sites that I saw, like I read the USA Today article that wasn't quite what the New York Times put out, but they all looked like they did a really good job at understanding the information that was given to them and relating it to the public in a way that they can grasp and understand it.
What did you think about, for me, it was Harry Reid. And we didn't know. Now think about this is what's trippy, Ricky. Trippy, Ricky. I just said I'm a poet tonight as well. Is this that here we have the Senate Majority Leader, right? Harry Reid, the dude, right? This is what was going on behind the scenes. He never talked about this. Right? You never know what's going on. And before you think that senators don't know anything, and here Harry Reid is funding a black budget project on UFOs in the Pentagon, and nobody knew about it, and Harry kept his game face on. What did you think about that?
I think it's pretty amazing that Harry Reid, even though he pushed through with this UFO project, even though they were trying to shut it down, he said, let's get this done, let's get this money, let's get this funded, let's figure out what the heck is going on in our skies. Right.
Just an amazing day. Well, Ricky, tell your uncle I want him on the show. All right?
I could definitely 100% get him or my dad on the show. They're both fighter pilots. I have all the proof you could ever want or need.
I would love to talk to them. I've had many pilots on the show, and, I should get Steve Murillo on tonight, too, as well.
Yeah. I just want to leave you with this, Jimmy.
Sure.
I know this sounds a little strange, but a lot of my family has deep ties in the military and the DOD, and I even have relatives that were CIA agents. One of my relatives was part of the DEA, and they've all said the same thing. The government's hiding things. They know the truth. There are UFOs. There are things that we can't explain today, and they're just trying to cover it up.
There you go. So you're not a disinfo agent, are you? Are you?
No, I'm not.
I love the family heritage, man. Ricky, thank you for calling in, first time caller, and a great day, and thank you for sharing that with us.
All right, thanks, Jimmy.
Yeah, thank you, Ricky. That's a great phone call right there. And to have his dad as an F-16 pilot who had never seen a UFO, but he gets a chance to see this footage. There you go. All right, let's go with, I'm going to go with one of the Fadernauts here. How you feeling today?
Damian from Hamilton.
I know it's you, man. I just said, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling really good. And you know what? I don't even know. I've been disconnected from media and from my phone. So I have really no idea what's going on, but I felt like something was going on.
Oh, well, this is what you need to do is you need to go and spend about 6 hours on the net tonight. Go look at the footage. Go look at all of the mainstream media. Read all of the news, and then I'll talk to you on Monday. There you go.
All right, Jimmy.
Today's a big day.
Like I said, it's exciting times, Jimmy. I felt something's going on, but we cannot completely trust the mainstream media. That's one thing that I'm just glad that something is happening, and I know something's going to happen, Jimmy.
Yep, it's going down. I'm telling you. There you go. All right,
all right, Jimmy. Hey, keep up the good work, and we'll let's see where we go from here. Fair or not, hey, stay together, stay strong.
That's exactly right.
All right, Jimmy.
Go enjoy the rest
Jimmy.
of your night, because you will. Okay. All right.
I will.
You got it,
Jimmy.
Damien.
Thank you.
All right. Now, also, in just a second, I'm just going to let everybody know I've got Grant Cameron on hold. I'm going to get to him in just a second. Grant, you stay right there. Before I get to Grant, I'm going to jump over to the other phone lines. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Thank you for holding.
Hey, Jimmy, this is Chuck.
Hey, Chuck. How you feeling today?
Pretty good. I'm kind of catching up. I came in on this kind of late and everything, and I've read several of the articles so far. I'm going to have to go over it again. But one thing that I haven't heard anybody on your show, and it's great that you're on Saturday here, but I think it might be interesting, since it's been in a lot of the media now, is if anyone in the media is going to follow any of this up.
Well, that's the point. And in my little op-ed piece that I wrote today, today is one thing, okay? Now let's see how the mainstream media deals with this in the future. That's all that can be said right now. Nobody here has a crystal ball. So we'll see how this plays out. Today, big day. Fun day, absolutely. Do we hold our heads high? Absolutely. You know, that was a good day. It's never, ever, ever happened like this before anywhere in ufology. It's never happened. You know, the only thing that would top today, right, is like, okay, time travelers have arrived from our future. They are saying hello. You know, that's what, you know, that's how you top today. So we'll see how the mainstream media plays out with this, and how Tom DeLonge chooses to deal with this, and what more he has coming. But today he has delivered. So there you go.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I kind of came in a little late. Did this go out to the media through Tom DeLonge?
It went out through Leslie Kean and the New York Times originally this morning. The other news outlets, all of the other mainstream media, when I say all of it, USA Today, BBC, Fox, Business Insider, IBT, Politico, Drudge Report, I can go on and on and on with the mainstream that covered it. Yes, it broke, and it broke big.
Yeah, it'd be nice if, and hopefully the other CNN and some of the major network news.
Oh, Fox covered it today.
We'll start picking this up.
No, Fox covered it all day today on television and on the net. NBC ran it today on their nightly news. So no, everybody has covered it. So go enjoy it. Go and read and have fun, and we'll see you on the show on Monday.
Okay, yeah, I'll be listening here for Grant Cameron, and maybe we can get Bassett and Dr. Greer in or something. But,
yeah, I'll see. I'll see if I can pull that off before the end of the show.
It is a historic day, Jimmy. Yep. That's my feeling right now.
Yep, yeah, and you're absolutely right about that. And enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, Jimmy. We'll talk to you later.
You got it. All right, let's go over to Grant Cameron. Grant, how are you?
Jimmy Church, did something happen today?
Yeah, a little bit. little bit. Now, let's start off on the right foot here. Let's not go with the wrong foot. Pretty big day. Did you?
Absolutely. This has been building for at least a year. I heard exactly, probably a year ago, what happened today, what would happen. And what I heard was that this would not be Tom DeLonge. This would be government people who would expose themselves, would come forward and confirm the story's true. And I think that's the biggest thing I've learned from today's story, is this is not Tom DeLonge today. This is Elizondo. This is Defense Department. This is the government actually talking. In fact, I was actually going to I'm doing an update later tonight, but I was going to do an update last night. And what the story was last night, that Tom DeLonge was very frustrated. There was a bunch of people that were attacking him on his site about, you said you were going to produce, where's the video? And one guy even had this thing about the peanut butter and crack sandwich. And I mean, he was taking a lot of hits, and he even came out with I think he put it on Twitter, I think, and said, or maybe it was Facebook, and he said, they tell me one more day, and he went, like he was frustrated as well. So he knew this was coming, but it was not the Tom DeLonge thing. And that's the most important thing, is that they've moved this away from Tom DeLonge. That's what I heard, that it would be released not by Tom DeLonge, by his people. So people can't say, oh, Tom DeLonge's trying to make money. Tom DeLonge's a crazy guy. Today's story really had nothing to do with Tom DeLonge. Tom DeLonge is involved in it, but it was the government today that actually made this statement and basically confirmed that they've been lying for years. They talk about this program from 2007 to 2011. And if you get Bassett on, you can talk to him about 2012, right after this program supposedly ends or officially. Bassett files a petition to the White House. When Barack Obama came in and had this petition site, they wanted 5,000 signatures, and as soon as the UFO petition got over 5,000, they changed the rules to 25,000. Bassett got to 25,000, and they came out with this statement and said that the government is hiding nothing. We have no evidence of extraterrestrials, and that was just basically after this program had run. So basically, the government is now in a box where they have lied, and unfortunately, a lot of people just won't pick up on this. I still even heard today, I had on my Facebook, and there was a lot of stuff happening. People are replying, and people are still talking about, well, when are we going to get disclosure? And it's like, I mean, people got brain damage or something? Like, yeah. I mean, they just keep saying it, and people, I guess they'd want the president to come and stand up, but I mean, this is pretty direct. They had already done it in October the 11th. They had done, Elizondo came forward and said, I ran this program, and it's for real, and we had things that we were watching. And then Leslie Kane was on MSNBC today, and she talked about 10 to 11 objects a year for the whole time they're running the program. And again, people are saying, wow, there's only $22 million. I said, well, in 2012, they said it was zero. They said we haven't spent a dime on this thing.
That is exactly the point. I don't care if it's $10.
That's right.
Okay. Now, and the other point that I think really needs to be driven home here is Senator Harry Reid. As the majority leader, as somebody that has been up in the public eye nearly on a daily basis doing press conferences and C-SPAN and everything else with Harry Reid, this is what he was doing in the background. And he kept the poker face on. You didn't know. And this was a black project dealing with UFOs inside of the Pentagon that was staffed, budgeted, and running, and nobody talked about it. And that includes Harry Reid. And that is about as telling as it gets. Also, there's another point here that kind of I haven't mentioned yet, and it's just kind of been, just ran underneath all the other, big news of the day. But Elizondo said that he's got a replacement. There's another guy there after he there's another, right? And so the program continues. Whether it's, all of these things do. They just change the name, and it gets buried back underneath everything, and they keep it hidden. And we've always talked about that. You've talked about it for years, Grant. And this kind of stuff for everybody out there that calls you crazy, calls me crazy, calls everybody crazy. Well, here you go. It's black and white. Now, how you choose, how those out there choose to respond to it, Grant, that's up to them. But like I said, us, you, the community, all we need to do is just glow for a couple of days.
Yeah, it's a pretty significant day. And as I said, I had heard this is exactly what they're going to do. So they're on plan. They've known what they're doing. And this Jim Semivan, who runs the show, is, from what I hear and have heard for a long time, is a pretty sharp guy. He's a guy who can make things happen. And it was I had some sources inside, and one of them said today, it was all a matter of timing. So, I mean, if you realize that Tom actually only had one deal that happened in 2016, and that was the October 11th news conference. Before that, it was all this delay. It was supposed to have happened in Christmas 2016, and it was delayed for a whole year. And then they had the news conference. Then he was taking the heat again. That you're not putting out here. And I even got, it was kind of funny. I even got an email yesterday that said, I hear you're supporting Tom DeLonge, and if it weren't for you, he would have folded the tent already. And it's like, and now you look what happened today. It's like, as they're going to press with this major story, that he's basically pulled this thing off and got the government to actually come clean on this thing. I mean, some people have got some bizarre ideas about what's going on. And in a way, a lot of people aren't going to change. They're going to find some sort of excuse as to why this really doesn't mean much. But you and I, who've been sitting for years, this is a very significant event.
Yeah, and my point is with this that I'm going to stand my ground. Anybody that wants to put a negative spin on this is somebody that is worried about their own ego. You can't, and that's it. That's all that anybody out there that is a legit researcher, that is concerned about the community, that is concerned about disclosure and bringing this step forward, those are happy. Those people are happy. They understand the significance of today, and that's it. That's how we move forward. If anybody wants to put a negative spin on it, man, they're a canceled check in my book. They're just somebody that wants to move the story on to them, and that's not cool. It doesn't matter if you didn't break the story or not. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I know you do of all. So, hey, Grant, thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Thank you for everything that you do.
Thanks for covering this. And I'm going to listen to the rest of the show. I just got in. So,
yeah.
Thanks for doing this. And it's like seventh game of the Stanley Cup. And I've seen the end of the play. I've seen the end of the book. We're going to win.
Yep. You got that right, Grant. Thank you for all that you do, my man.
Have a good night. Thank you.
You too, Grant. Grant Cameron out of Canada. Grant is the absolute very best. And so let me shift some calls around here, and let's go here next. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? You're live. Hello. Okay, I'm just going to, should I even say your number? This is 668. You're live. Okay, that goes away. Let's go back over to here. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, this is Andy.
Hi, Andy. How are you?
Good. Surprised I got in. I was wondering, do you think now that Trump did the whole space program just recently, you think this is tied to this video that just came out?
No. Wait a minute. I should never say anything that definitive. I don't know, but I don't think that they would be tied. And then, it's funny because when I say something like that, and you bringing this to my attention, then it makes me step back and go, wait a minute, maybe there is something else going on. So I appreciate you raising the issue. I don't think that they would be tied together, but you just this whole UFO alien thing for so many years now. When you get into it, and you get into the field, and you start to have access to information and people contacting, it gets really, really strange. And nothing surprises me anymore. And I'm sure you were just listening to Grant Cameron. Grant is
exactly. I love him.
Yeah, he's been around the block many, many, many times. And
that's White House UFO, right? On YouTube.
That's right. And see, the other thing is that hey, you know what? I'm going to let you go. Okay, I've got Linda. Okay. I've got Linda Moulton Howe calling in. So let me grab her.
Awesome. I love her.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye. Okay, so let's go here. Linda, are you there?
Jimmy, I am here. Can you hear me?
I got you, young lady. How are you feeling today?
Well, I was doing my Earth Files YouTube channel as a special reaction to the New York Times article that is tied in with Tom DeLonge and the military and scientists. And so I had been on the air when apparently you and Bill Skywalker were trying to get a hold of me when I was on the air. And then once I got off, we've had problems connecting. But Jimmy, I think that this is a historic day and night.
It was just like you all day today as it's, flooding in over here. You're dealing with the same things I am and trying to reach out and complete the day. As it started to unfold, I'm just thinking to myself, this is a really big deal.
Yes.
And so for you, Linda, you've been doing this for a long time. You were just on my show last week. Here we are today talking about this. You must feel really good for the community and for all of your hard work over the years.
Well, my reaction has been that I have impatiently, as you and so many others, been waiting for the day that would come when there would be some kind of official confirmation, is what I call it.
Right.
That the UFO phenomena is real. It is something that is studied, analyzed, retrieved, back engineered, and has been for decades by this government, and that it is preposterous for us to be in a nation where there is a black government that knows about other things in the universe and keeps the rest of the population in the dark. And today, why I feel like December 16th, 2017 is noteworthy and some kind of a historic marker has moved forward is that the videos that are on the infrared FLIR cameras are showing things that cannot happen with terrestrial craft.
Nope.
That's one thing.
Yep.
And that Elizondo, who in the October 11th presentation that Tom DeLonge did with Hal Puthoff and some of the others, that Elizondo is described by the New York Times today as having been director of this agency, the Defense Department's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Right. And I talked with several colleagues that I've known for a long time today. Out of curiosity, I asked if they had ever heard of this. None of us have. So this is a confirmation that in the it's called the fifth floor, the C ring at the Pentagon, that Elizondo has been the director of this agency, Defense Department's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, and that he resigned on the day before they did the October 11th, 2017 Facebook live stream to the stars.
Right.
And that this would have been necessary, I think, in the so-called laws and rules of the Department of Defense, that they decided that Elizondo would join the collaboration with Hal Puthoff and some of the other people, and that it would be important for him to not be officially the director of that office. And I think that the New York Times today left open the confusion that Harry Reid and others who had started this are saying that allegedly that office had run, quote unquote, out of funds in 2012. But there were other sentences in the New York Times article, and I've learned other material since, that it is still ongoing, which means it is still secret, or was until today. Now, will Mr. Elizondo and Hal Puthoff and the others with Tom DeLonge, will they now keep unfolding in these periodic, whether they're live streams or dumps to the New York Times, or what's going to happen? Will they continue this? If it stopped here, it would just have been a wonderful prelude, Jimmy, to how this planet, how our nation could be if we were all together trying to tell and learn about the truth of our relationship to other intelligences and that we had a handshake with the government instead of feeling like that we are perceived enemies to policies of secrets. And that this, to me, is why this day is so important. If it will finally end this tremendous, the black world that has been there since 1947, evolving completely separately from the rest of the American public that have been kept dumb and blind on purpose. If we can end up seeing a bridge here, and that the bridge is going to be, as Tom DeLonge calls his company, taking us to the stars for real, and that we are all going to start trying to learn the truth about what are we humans, who made us, what is the true evolutionary history, what is the relationship to what seems to be interacting with this planet, some allies and some maybe not allies, and that the government of the United States, which is us people, if it finally said, yes, we realize the last 70 years, we shouldn't have been telling all of these lies. We shouldn't have been concocting these policies. And now we see that confirming that we're not alone, confirming that there are other intelligences, and we are very interested in their technology, and that technology could be a huge boon to the survival of the evolution of humans if we could make it move forward positively. If it's all going to be weapons, if it's all going to be cast as we are in real battles and nothing but Star Wars, then maybe it'll be an existential crisis. But if this government shakes hands with all of us metaphorically, and that this is the beginning, and we can start seeing constant downloads of real footage, real photos, alien photos, craft photos, symbol photos, everything, wouldn't, Jimmy, this be one of the most exhilarating moments in the entire history of this planet?
We're right there. And let me tell you, for me, Linda, I want your reaction to this. For me, out of all of it, it was great. It was fun reading, and I enjoyed it. But let me tell you what freaked me out is that Harry Reid, Senate Majority Leader, kept this secret from everybody. He had the poker face on. Nobody knew. Nobody knew until today. And if you think about all those press conferences, Harry Reid on the screen, all of that, he was running a UFO black ops project from the Pentagon in the background, and he never dropped the dime.
Jimmy, that's exactly what Harry S. Truman set up with Majestic 12. 12 people that he trusted, the scientists, Vannevar Bush, the military people, the business people, and they talk about playing the game close to their chest.
Right.
Those 12 people were set up under Truman, and Eisenhower adopted exactly the same MJ-12 in the interests of national security at all costs. Those words that show up in their documents,
right,
at all costs meant that they considered from the Truman administration onward that there was danger to what we'll call civilization if they told the truth. What we are experiencing today on December 16th, 2017 is the opposite, that we have grown and evolved enough, and there have been enough secret space programs that we are now at I think the possibility of a completely different chapter, which is not that everybody has to be constantly kept in the dark because the government is afraid that people will collapse and they want their technologies to keep being back engineered. That what Tom DeLonge himself has described, how great it would be if all of that policy of denial, MJ-12, hidden poker faces, Harry Reid putting this in motion and nobody knowing until today, that it changed to let's shake hands with the American public and the world, and let's now, in collaboration, if the Chinese, if the Indian, if Russia, if Brazil, if they are other craft and other bodies and other technologies, that we finally bring Homo sapiens sapien onto square one with the governments.
Sure.
And that might strengthen everybody, especially We have allies, I'm convinced. But if there is something out there that might not be a quote unquote ally, if this whole planet came together with knowledge and we were all going together finally, seriously, knowing and learning together, wouldn't we be that much stronger when it came to something out there that might be a threat? Because otherwise, if we are left in the dark, if this remains a concocted planet of ignorance and lies,
right,
then all of us, the entire consciousness of humanity, will suffer a shock. It's a broadside shock if everything just happens all of a sudden out of the control of governments. But if we start now with this, I call it confirmation, then the evolution going forward could be in the light, not the dark, and that this planet, everybody on it, would get stronger, not weaker. And you know, a sidebar to this might be all of the kids in all of the nations who love Star Wars, if this turned on the dime today toward we have real science, real technology that could be thrilling, all of the kids would want to be engineers, physicists, microbiologists, all of the things that we're going to need so badly. And right now we're on a planet where it feels like that trying to educate the kids, the children of this world, in anything that is going to be applicable 100 years from now is a big challenge. But it might not be a challenge if we all were on the same page, governments and citizens.
Linda, why do you think, because we all of us in this community have been trying to get some type of recognition out there through the mainstream media, which, largely ignored. Today, all of the mainstream media chose to pick up on this story. It is now...
Why?
Why?
I'll give you the reason why from a reporter's point of view, Jimmy. Because the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, was in on the deal with putting out the footage, the video from the FLIR cameras of these astonishing things in those couple of videos.
Right.
And the very fact that the New York Times was the messenger and that they could put on their webpage the active video that you could go and look, and then at To the Stars has breakdowns, more information. This was the first time, I believe this is a true sentence, this is the first time that the Department of Defense has acknowledged unidentified flying objects or unidentified aerial phenomena and backed up the acknowledgement with what is called Department of Defense sanctioned, authorized release of tape, in which you even hear the pilots talking about what they're seeing is astonishing. It's nothing that we could do. And that if they have decided, if the Pentagon, if the Secretary of Defense, if the head of the CIA, NSA, DIA, NRO, the whole intelligence group, if they have finally said, look, we have to start opening this story up. We can't continue for the rest of the 21st century lying. In the interests of national security has always been the defense.
Right.
Before a congressional hearing, they would say, this was set up in the interests of national security, and therefore everything that we have done to suppress and have policies of denial has been in the interests of national security, and therefore we've been carrying out orders. But if China is going to start building a base in the southern pole of the moon in a year or so, where it's the place where there's 96% of the entire year, it's all light. So they are going to have all the power they need. And if Elon Musk is going to truly launch for Mars in 2024, and if Project Starshot that wants to get these wafer craft going to Alpha Centauri, and that if they can get the lasers to work and launch at 30% the speed of light, and then 40% the speed of light, and they keep going on, we, one way or the other, what's happening on this planet is that there is a population of humans, Jimmy, that are headed for living on the moon, living on Mars, exploring in the solar system. So how ridiculous would it be if the policies of denial continued on our planet? I mean, this is preposterous.
Now, you've watched so much footage over the years. When I saw that craft today make the turn when it rotated, that stopped me dead in my tracks. Before that, it's just an object. That's cool. When it made that move and rotated, obviously not affected by the air. This isn't something conventional. That was technology that I've never seen. That was straight out of a video game.
And I have the transcript right here in front of me. This was shot from a U.S. Navy FA-18 Super Hornet using the Raytheon AN/ASQ 228 Advanced Targeting Forward-Looking Infrared that is known as AT FLIR. As the video starts, the cockpit sensor is showing white elements that are warmer than the dark or cooler areas, and this UFO appears as a white oblong shape in the middle of the screen. And the American aircraft that is chasing the UFO is at an altitude of 25,010 feet. The highly trained fighter pilots in the Super Hornet are recorded as astonished by what is happening on the heads-up display, and one pilot says, "There is a whole fleet of them. You don't see that at the center of that screen. But apparently, they're getting more information that is wider than what we see in this video." And he said, "There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA radar display. They are all going against the wind." And the wind was defined as 120 knots, which was 138 miles an hour. And these objects are moving against 138 miles an hour. And then the sensor is switched from white hot to black hot. And this object becomes very much clearer. And it has a distinct oval shape with protrusions top and bottom. And then the disc-shaped object begins to rotate. You see it very clearly. It changes its orientation by almost 100 degrees. And one of the Hornet pilots says, "Look at that thing." And someone else says, "It's rotating." And they go on to say that the observations included orientation change, where the UFO also slows to a near stop and does an orientation change, and it never changes its altitude. This is the ability for something that looks massive to, what would you call it? It is suspended in the air, and it can do 180 degree or more rotations without losing altitude. What is that?
No, it's something anti-gravity. Something has nothing to do with analog, right? The wind, air. No, that's not. And the other piece of footage, the second video that was released, where they're locked on to the object, and then it splits. Right? And it goes to the left and dashes out of the screen, and they can't catch back up to it.
And Jimmy, that has been described to me by so many deputy sheriffs and ranchers. In the animal mutilation phenomenon, which is probably a subject that the Department of Defense has felt very, very sensitive about, and thought as long as they said it's nothing but predator disease and satanic cult, that people would buy that. And that's not true. It is related to this phenomenon, and we should not be running from it. We should be trying to understand it. And that when deputy sheriffs and ranchers over and over and over say, "I saw this orange glowing sphere. It was moving in the sky over my barn, over the pasture, wherever it is. Right. Stops in the air, splits in two. One orangish yellow circle becomes two. And in one case, this came directly from the DA's investigator of mutilations, Lou Girardo, in Trinidad, Colorado. And he said he was sitting there with a deputy, and they could not believe what they were seeing when this big gold orange object split into two circular objects, and one flew off at it seemed like an instantaneous speed, as these pilots are describing also in this Pentagon material, and the other went straight down into the ground and disappeared. And the deputy and Lou Girotto looked at each other and said did you just see what I saw? This thing went into the ground. About 20 or 30 minutes later, and they were listening to radar traffic that was coming out of Denver. They were talking about unidentifieds that were moving south. Trinidad is south of Denver. All of a sudden, in front of them, almost as if flaunting that, or like, did you see what we did before? Now look at what happens. They see the similar, same looking gold orange circle come up out of the ground, parked in front of them, comes up into the air, and coming as if it is a choreographed meeting, this other one that had gone further south immediately comes back. The two come together, join in the air, and disappeared, blinked out right in front of them. Those are exactly the kind of repeated eyewitness accounts over the last many decades from a variety of law enforcement that we trust. We don't have sheriffs and deputy sheriffs in offices that would make up things. They're people that we trust. And when they tell you this is what they saw, I believe this is what they saw. And so, in a funny, strange way, the videos that were linked today, or released today, link historically to these same descriptions that sheriffs and deputies and ranchers have been reporting since at least the early 1960s.
Linda, I want to thank you for taking the time on this very, very busy day for you to come on and speak with us. And
I'm glad, Jimmy. This is an important day and night.
It's such a big day. And I'm glad that we could share this together, this moment. And I know that you're going to be following up on everything over on Earth Files over the next 24 hours. You got a busy day in front of you. Thank you so much. Yes, and
I just posted tonight at my Earth Files YouTube channel a presentation that I did on this with Q&A with my audience, which other people might find really, really interesting. So go to the Earth Files YouTube channel as well as to Fade to Black.
Thank you so much, Linda. Be safe out there. We'll talk to you later on this week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Linda Moulton Howe, everybody. Very important day here, and I've got calls coming in, also calls going out, and I'm trying to line up a couple of other guests here. I'm doing everything live on the fly. Linda Moulton Howe coming in. Also, I've got, let me shift this. Let me see here. I'm going to drop this, and I'm going to grab this because I've got Larry Holcomb on the line. Larry, are you there? Oh, Larry, hold on for a second. Larry, are you there?
Yes.
Big day today, my friend.
How are you, Jimmy?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. I hope you and Rita are doing fine.
Rita is in New York on vacation when all the breaking news happened. So she called me from New York and said, enough of resting, church. Get on and do a live show tonight. This is too big of a deal. So,
it is.
She's right. So, what did you think as the news started to break today?
Well, my inclination is to sit back and watch and listen and see how it develops. I think that's a smart thing to do. But I was particularly impressed with the conversation, the information about Harry Reid, and I guess I won't hold you. I won't take a lot of time up, but I just wonder with Harry Reid's involvement, if that doesn't just scratch the surface, how deep does it go? How dark does it go below what Harry Reid really knows? I think that's a fascinating thought to me, anyway.
I've been trying to drive this point home, not only when I intro the show, but everybody that I've had on the air tonight, which is this. Harry Reid had his poker face on, apparently for years. All of the other things that were going on in this country and around the world, that's great. Press conferences, votes, this, that. I get that. Senate Majority Leader. But this is what was going on in the background, black budgets, and he never let any of this out. And if he can keep this a secret, there's no telling what is not known.
That's what I'm saying, that if he knows how much he knows, how much more is below the surface of what he knows.
That's exactly the point, Larry. And I'm so glad that you bring this up, because so much has been said. It's compartmentalized. The Senate doesn't know anything. Congressman doesn't know anything. The president doesn't know anything. Nobody knows anything. It's this. And then it turns out that Harry, the Senate Majority Leader, had a black budget project on UFOs running in the Pentagon. That right there, aside from everything else, that footage today from the FA-18 was extraordinary. I mean, that was unbelievable.
Oh, it was.
It was real.
I mean, I forget which one it was, but the object that flipped over,
right,
in the gun camera film, it was incredible. I mean, it was a saucer, Jimmy.
Yes, it was.
It was a saucer, for God's sake.
And it rotated.
Was beautiful.
Yeah, when it did that little turn so mechanically, so controlled, and it did that rotation and then it stopped. It didn't slow down and stop. It didn't adjust itself. It wasn't being blown around by the wind. It was just there, doing its thing. And that rotation, it was just so mechanical. And then stopped. I was like, holy crap. And, and to hear the pilot's reaction, right? Their holy crap moment was legit. Those guys had never seen anything like that. It was incredible. Incredible.
Well, I've been sitting back all night tonight watching the reaction on the internet and what people are saying, and I know the debunkers are going to come down like rain from the roof. But it's still it's a beautiful thing. It really was. I'm stunned and I'm happy, and so we'll see where it goes.
Thank you so much, Larry, for taking the time to call in tonight. And everybody go see LarryHolcomb.com and his books, and everything is right there. Thank you so much, Larry.
Always good talking to you, my friend.
You know you're the best. You know that, right?
No, I don't know that.
I'll talk to you.
I'm just an old man trying to get along.
You're the best, Larry. Thank you so much, my friend, and we'll talk to you over the week.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you. Larry Holcomb, an incredible day today. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Disclosure. It went down today. To have all of mainstream media at the same time cover this extraordinary story today. Now, it wasn't just one thing. I want to make this a point. It wasn't just a UFO sighting. That happened. Yes. It wasn't just the government confirmation. That certainly happened. It wasn't that. It wasn't all about Tom DeLonge and To the Stars Media. No, it wasn't about that. It wasn't all about the CIA. It was all of that happened today all at the same time. A very big day, an incredible piece of UFO footage. Incredible to have the flight controllers and the pilots and their audio, what they were seeing, to have that happen. To have the Senate Majority Leader, Harry Reid, running a top secret UFO program from the Pentagon, funded with black budget money, revealed today when none of this stuff was supposed to be going on. And there's more to it than that. It goes deeper. An incredible day. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hello?
Yes, you're live.
Oh, wow. I didn't expect that. Oh, buddy. What a blessing. It's funny because I was watching you on YouTube, and it was like 10 seconds behind what was being said on the phone.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I got to tell you that I have been, I'm 21, but I've been researching for like some years now.
Right.
And I have been like on the edge of my seat, at least to use that metaphor, for a long time about, UFOs and the arrest of the elite and the truth coming out. And I got to ask about how do you feel about the information regarding the solar flash and the ascension and all that?
Well,
how close does it feel to you?
I think we all knew that this day was coming. Today was it was a bombshell moment. Those inside of our community that have seen things and have questioned things and communication and we didn't need today. But talking about the things that are going on all at the same time, like you're referring to with consciousness and being awake and awareness, and suddenly for us to have the rest of the world get a little taste of what we've been dealing with, it makes us all feel really, really good. We know something is coming, and to have what we need from inside of ourselves is we need the rest of the world to feel as crazy as we do, right? You know what I mean?
I got to tell you that I've had a lot of, I guess you can say, like, personal, but, like, somewhat, like, supernatural experiences. Like, one day I had a massive awakening that happened just one day in the morning as I sat down to do my research. And what came to me in this very intense, like, emotionally charged toward the positive vision was that that there was going to be some sort of event that goes on with the sun,
right?
And that the global elite were going to be arrested. And I've seen lots of interviews about people who've had near-death experiences and talked about the solar flash and this event going on with the sun, but nobody seems to have the exact date pinned down, because I don't know if they know that in the next density up. But one detail that they gave me to indicate like what time this may be happening is that they said this very, very specifically, that the solar flash event and that the arrest of the elite were going to happen within the same hour. So I've been very, very observant as to how close the arresting of the elite is.
Well, and
it's nice to see the thousands of indictments. The first one that was opened was for a senator. That was the charge was running a criminal empire out of his office, which is very refreshing for me, because it means that this event that I've been like almost dying for, I want to say, the solar event, I feel like it's coming in the next year or two.
Well, when it does go, what was your name, by the way?
My name is Michael.
Hey, Michael, I want to thank you for the phone call, and we love first-time callers. When the solar event goes down, we'll know at that point if everything ties together, and that's, and it's all about being aware. And so we'll see, the indictments and all of the sealed stuff, all of that, until you or I are looking at paperwork in our own hands or something like that is revealed, it is nothing but somebody else's reporting. And I want to see that stuff for real. But if it goes down, we'll know. And when it happens, we'll know. That's why I want to thank you for the phone call and keeping us aware about all of this. Thank you so much. Just stay on the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? You're live.
Hello?
Yes, you're live right now.
Hello, my name is Ryan. I'm calling from Kalamazoo.
Ryan from Kalamazoo. How close to you are you to Western Michigan?
About 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, I used to live there, man.
I actually have Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't know that. I actually have a radio show at Wider.
Oh, really? Well, yep. I was right there, man. Redwood Drive, overlooking Or my dad, my dad graduated from Western Michigan. Okay, so what's on your mind tonight?
Interesting. Well, I suppose I have two questions. Or like a two-part question. As I say, I have a radio show about these sorts of things, so I've been kind of watching over the past year and a half Hillary Clinton, who is sort of tangentially related to Tom DeLonge in this whole thing. So I guess maybe a three-part question. Number one, do you think she was trying to kind of preempt this? Number two, do you think that the ball is in the DOD's court, so to speak, and now they have control of the narrative? And number three, do you think that, because a lot of things that I've read today have said unidentified aerial phenomena as opposed to UFOs, do you think they're going to try to rebrand,
Well, they're trying to do that now. Okay, so I'll answer all three of your questions for you. Was Hillary pushing for this originally? She has been for years. There's no doubt about it with her connections to Rockefeller and, of course, Podesta and how she was pushing for this. Yes. Do I think she was also pushing for this to get the UFO vote? Absolutely. She brought this up many times during her campaign. So she was spearheading this. What, why, and who, and what was going on behind the scenes, none of us know. Nobody does. None of us were there. So if somebody says that they know, they have the, they know about Hillary and what was going, no, they don't. Nobody knows, and that's the end of the story. That is purely, we're getting into real hypothesis and theory. But yes, was she in front of this from the beginning? Yes. Was Podesta there? Yes. Rockefeller? Absolutely. What the agenda was, we don't know. That the second part of your question, does the DOD now have control of the narrative? Absolutely not. 100%. You know why? Once it goes into the public domain, once this dives over the fence, just like WikiLeaks or anything else, once it goes into the public now controls the narrative. There are a lot of very, very, very smart people out there outside of the UFO community that can run with anything in any direction. You just give them the reason and the bullets, and then they take off and run. So, no, no. Now that it has gone to this point, now we are talking about people outside of this community that now control it. DOD, absolutely not. Not anymore, for sure. Your third question, your third question was what? Your third, I can't remember.
The rebranding from UFO to UAP.
Yeah, and that was done by, originally, the first times that I started to read this, that was the Ministry of Defense out of the UK, coming out of their reports, where they started naming it unidentified aerial phenomenon. The reason for that, and I'm going to be very straight here, the term UFO is crazy talk. That's from the crazy people. That's UFO. That's movies. That's a whole nother thing. So to keep it sounding scientific and legit and away from the term UFO that has been branded as crazy talk, unidentified aerial phenomenon, and it sounds great, right? Rolls off the tongue really nice, and it sounds good and scientific and legit. And there you go. So that, is it been rebranded? Yes. I do not say UAP on this show. I like UFOs. I like saying it. So there you go, Ryan. Yeah. Be safe and be well, man. I got to head to a commercial break. So thank you so much for calling.
Answering my questions.
Absolutely, my man. Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Okay, with that, I'm going to grab this over here. Should I, you know what? Should I go commercial free? I'm going to defer this to Twitter. I've got 45 seconds. You guys want me to go commercial free? You just want me to continue to bang calls? All right. Let's, okay. Yeah, that's you. You're live.
That's me.
Yeah.
Hi, Jimmy and Fadenauts in chat. It's Heidi here from the UK. Hi, how are you doing?
You're calling from the UK.
Yes, it's almost 5 in the morning.
Oh, wow. I'm looking here. This is an international phone number. See, I didn't, if I would have known that, I would have just put you at the front of the line. What's your name?
Oh, no, it's Heidi.
Oh,
I'm
hi,
friends with
Heidi.
Bill,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
producer.
Absolutely. Hi, Heidi. How are you?
I'm really good, and it's really nice to finally talk to you, actually.
It's good to hear your voice. Pretty exciting day today, isn't it?
Very exciting, very exciting. However, the thing that concerns me is how the US government are going to follow on with, well, let's just say the lies that they have been covering up. And I hope in a way that the people will now seriously ask some questions about all sorts, all manner of things, not only UFO, the whole, everything they've been doing behind closed doors, all the black ops.
Right.
And not even to mention the space program. Let's hope that they will start now being, well, they're never going to be honest, obviously, because of national security, that old chestnut. But I'm interested to see the follow-on, you know.
And do me a favor, Heidi, just for me. Say however one more time.
However.
Yeah. See, I just love it. But that's exactly the point, though, isn't it? And I brought this up. I think Linda touched upon this just a little bit too. It's one thing to have this exciting day, to have all of this news drop on our laps quickly, to have all of mainstream media pick up on it, but it needs to continue. There's so many other aspects of this to keep pushing the narrative, but I am so glad that some of the dominoes started to fall today.
Yeah, and for me personally speaking, I don't know about yourself, and I've had to take a step back today and say, hang on a second, this might not be huge news to the likes of us, as in the awake people, though. You know, we already know they're here. We already know they've been coming here for millennia, etc., etc.
Right.
What you've got to take a step back and realise is, I've got a very good friend who's been invited into the Masons, etc. Those type of people that have just total disregard for the subject, we are the greatest in the universe, there is nothing else, etc. You've got to take a step back and realise that this sort of news that's been put out on mainstream media is going to be a real wake-up call for them. And I just hope that, because you're always going to get doubters, obviously there's still already people saying, that's fake, it's lens flare, blah, blah, boring. If you're doing it right, you ain't got haters, or you have got haters, isn't it? But it's obviously huge for that. Let's just hope that the silly drip feeding, that this has led up to this, as in the Mickey-taking type media, oh, look, there's a little green man with a Santa hat on type attitude. Let's hope that hasn't dulled it down too much.
You know what?
And that people now suddenly do realise this is real. We've got to really start asking questions and listening.
Now, I'm going to, I want you to enjoy what I'm about to say. I want to hear you laugh, too. But we have two of the funnest newspapers in the world to read. The Mirror, right? The Daily Mirror and the Sun, right? Now they
not so much.
Right. See, because they're reporting on this stuff all the time, and I love it. Mm-hmm. But now they actually have something legit to back up some of the stuff that they've been covering over the years.
Watch them backpedal now.
Right. Is it a little bit of the boy who cried wolf? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, it's going to be entertaining, if nothing else.
Yeah, over here we have the Inquirer, right? So now, if the Inquirer runs with this story over the next couple of days, nobody's going to even be fazed by it. You know what I mean? It's the boy that cried wolf. So there you go, Heidi. Thank you so much for taking the time to call in, and it's been way too long.
It's a pleasure to finally talk to you, and I might well be seeing you over the next year-ish.
I hope so, Heidi. Thank you so much.
All right, sweetie.
It's great to hear from you. Right back at you. Oh, that was a great phone call right there. Okay, let's. I'm going to go to the other phone lines. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? No,
Michael.
Yeah, Michael. How are you?
I'm very good. you just spoke to Heidi. She's the hoot.
Yeah, she's the
been
best.
Following the social media, as have you.
Yes.
And you brought up some very good points when you talked about the British media that always covers the UFOs. And I'm a neighbor of yours to the north,
okay,
Canada.
Yes.
And I've been following this news ever since I heard about it, which is, I got it off Coast to Coast. Don't want to plug it, but you're part of it. And I followed the news, and I could not find this on the Canadian media. I found it on the British media, as you stated. And I want to say, and you're right when you say that who's going to follow it up next? Because tomorrow's going to tell a big story about who's going to follow this up. Because we've seen the media in the USA, Fox, CNN, two different spectrums. The British media, as you said, who usually cover this topic, but nobody else, or not nobody else, but hardly anybody else. So I think tomorrow is going to tell a big, big story. Who's going to pick this up? And I think because if disclosure is going to happen, the boys in charge are going to want to. They're going to be first to say, "Hey, we're in charge. We did it first. We didn't lie. We told you the truth first." So I think who's going to be next is going to tell a lot.
Yeah,
so
I agree with you.
Tomorrow is going to be a big day.
I totally agree with you, Michael. And those are the points that not only do I need to hear them from you, I've been saying the exact same thing. The audience really needs to absorb the big picture here. You know, yeah, today's great. I mean, we all feel good. We've wanted this for a long time, but now we need to push the narrative. You know, it's about tomorrow and the next day and the next day. The news. And I want to thank you for the phone call, man. I've got so many calls coming in that I want to try.
Can I throw in a comment?
Yeah.
A quote from somebody I follow.
Yes.
Okay. This is like the maple syrup disclosure. It's drip, 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 and that's from Lorraine. and I think that's a good way to put it.
Yep. And you're in Canada. You're in Canada right now, so maple syrup, man, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's why I had to say it.
Thank you,
Okay,
Michael.
thanks, man.
Have a great night.
You too.
Oh, man, international calls. Okay, I have. Okay, I'm going to take this call next. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy, this is Pete from Early Beach, Australia, man.
How are you?
I'm okay, dude. How are you?
Man, crazy day. Now, over there, hold on for a quick second. Hold on. I have to, let me check this really quick. Oh, man. I don't know. I'm going to let this call go. Okay, is this as big a news over there as it appears to be all around the world?
Man, not really. Not really. It's kind of garbage, but that's okay. So my girl and I, I played with my band last night. It was like quite a late gig,
right?
And we're still kicking around. Like we had a bit of sleep, but so she's extremely skeptical about the whole thing. And we've been discussing since we saw you came live on air on I think it was about 1 p.m. our time, Sunday,
right?
And yeah, so we've been having this talking about it. We looked at the footage, man, and I wouldn't say she's a believer, but it was just like she, a different way of looking at it. Okay, it's real.
Yeah,
this is the real thing.
Exactly. And I'm totally with you on that point. I think that needs to really, really go home for everybody. That footage is not like anything I've ever seen. It's not even close. And I really like the way that it was all explained. Here's the 42-degree tilt or whatever it was. Just. Right. Yeah, because you see those things. Right.
Right? There's a few videos going around with that kind of stuff. It's like, but what's going on here? I can't interpret all the information that's displayed here. I mean, some dudes probably can, man. I'm not that dude.
Yeah, right.
But, we shit when I see it. Oh, sorry.
No, that's exactly it. And as this week does unfold, what you should do, you know what? Okay, I've got to I've got to let this other phone call come in.
Do what you got to do, homeboy. And keep it real. Keep doing it.
Absolutely. And let's. I hate to do this. Oh man. I lost the call. Okay. I've got. I know. Call right now. Okay. Here we go. Hi. You're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
It's Ziggy.
Oh, hey, Ziggy. Hold on for a second. Ziggy, stay right there. Stay right there. I've got to grab this call right here. Ziggy, stay right there. Peter Levenda, you're alive with us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Jimmy?
No, I'm not as good as you are.
What's
but
up?
I'm feeling yeah, what's up? Man. Okay, look, Peter, let's just start here. We knew this day was coming. Okay? We did. We knew this day was coming. Did you expect the mainstream media to pick up on this story worldwide as fast and as efficiently as they did?
Actually, no. The day was coming. We knew it was coming, as you said, although there were those who had expressed some doubts. But as far as we are concerned, I think that the speed with which the worldwide media has picked this up was pretty astonishing. I mean, I knew it was going to make an impact, but I didn't think it was going to make this kind of an impact. This is kind of incredible.
Have you talked to Tom?
I mean,
have you talked to Tom today?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's been impossible.
Yeah, I can imagine. I reached out to him yesterday and today about this, and I kept some stuff under my hat, but it was funny. Then I realized that 2 days ago, I reached out to him. It was his birthday, right? And I'm like, and I'm whatever. The point is, and then yesterday and then today, and I just thought, you know what? It's just going to be impossible. If he wants to find the time, he'll get out. But I can imagine that he was getting blindsided by everybody. And I'd rather just have him kick back and enjoy the moment. But for you, knowing that this footage was released, and I've talked to you about this before, not only on Faded Black, but on Coast to Coast very recently. How do you feel about this footage? The footage to me was what you would expect if you're looking at some type of alien object, not responding to man-made objects. That's what we are acclimated to with our own eyes. You see this footage, it just doesn't look terrestrial. And that's how it hits your brain. Your brain has a hard time trying to make sense out of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. That's why this stuff was kept under wraps for so long, and we only pried it out of them. I'm not exactly sure how we did that. But, they finally, they dropped it. I mean, so both of the films, are astonishing. The second one is equally as astonishing, just as the way that thing just takes off at one point.
Right.
We've seen stuff like this, but never with the provenance that this has. This is coming straight out of the DOD. It's coming straight out of the Pentagon, and they're saying, yeah, here you go. We don't know what it is either, Good luck, guys. I mean, this is what is astonishing to me. It's looking at it, seeing it, and knowing what you're looking at, and knowing that it's come from the government, and it's come from the Pentagon. Knowing that there was a secret program in place all these years, you've been on, how long have you been doing Fade to Black, right?
Yep.
I mean, this program was already, in place.
Right.
This stuff was going on, and this was part of, a government project. No one knew about it. Even the Pentagon mostly didn't know about it. So, we're talking about something that has excellent credentials, and that's really the important thing. Everybody's talking about disclosure all the time. Well, here you go, right?
Yeah. Is
today coming? We thought that blue book was the end of it, right?
Right.
But it wasn't.
No, and that's what. Okay, let's touch on all of these really quick while I have you here, and thank you for that. By the way, I'm just going to let everybody know I've been writing Peter all day. Peter, and he texts
I had
me
my
back.
phone up. I was in the middle of a whole bunch of other stuff that you cannot imagine, and then suddenly I'd see all these messages, and I'm like, oh boy.
No, that's not what you said. You said what? What's going on?
What's happening?
Now, is this okay? We've got some very, very telling things that have surfaced now. That the Senate Majority Leader, Harry Reid, had been funding a black project UFO Pentagon thing for years and kept his game face on. That tells everybody out there that has been skeptical about these kinds of things that this is exactly what is going on. That's exactly what it says, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is exactly how these things have been handled. You know, as far as we know about the Harry Reid project. We know about that special division within the Pentagon. Now we all know about it. That was concerned with UFOs. Who knows how many other, programs like that had been started and stopped throughout the years, right?
Right.
That we've never heard about. I mean, you've heard a lot about black budgets where the UFO, programs are concerned and stuff. But now here we have the proof. I mean, we don't have to speculate. We can speculate about other programs, but we don't have to speculate about was there ever a black budget program investigating UFOs? Because now it's confirmed. I mean, Harry Reid himself has confirmed it. He's been retweeting all this stuff.
I know.
So, I mean,
I know.
There's no doubt. It's like, okay, we were doing this.
Now what? Now, is this the day that we are going to look back on, December 16th, 2017, as the day of disclosure?
Well, I mean, a lot of people are going to argue, and they're going to say no because they didn't like the film is too grainy, or we don't trust Harry Reid, or whatever it has to be. From my perspective, speaking as somebody who's been working with government stuff and writing about, conspiracies and writing about history and Nazis and every other thing, from my perspective, yes, today is the day that we had disclosure. This is not the most disclosure we'll ever get, but it is the beginning of disclosure. This is tangible. We know the names, we know the places, we know the people. We've got the videos. They're coming out and saying, yes, this is what happened. We've got the To the Stars people all together on this thing as well. So you've got people coming out and saying this is it. And now we can go back. The historians of ufology can now go back and start connecting more dots. And figuring out what was going on, who was doing what to whom, and, realizing that this was true. Now we don't have to speculate anymore. Was there ever a black budget for UFO disclosure? Sure. Here we are. We have the proof. Who was in charge? Well, Harry Reid raised the money for it, but it operated within the Pentagon, and who was the guy in charge of that? Well, we have Luis Elizondo, right, who was the guy who came out and joined us and said, we can't keep this stuff secret anymore. So we have the names and we have the people, and this is the beginning of it. We can start from here and go back and go forward and start connecting dots and putting this thing together. I think it's a great day. It's a great day for all of us.
Do we have Tom DeLonge to thank for this, or was this going to happen anyway?
Well, if you go back to that announcement that everybody was talking about when Tom DeLonge made that famous announcement on the To the Stars Academy and set up this whole project, it was Elizondo who was part of that, right? He had not been seen in public talking about this stuff at all until that day when he was on that stage.
Right.
So it's you're looking at Tom DeLonge and Elizondo together with the other guys, Jim Semivan and Hal Puthoff, Chris Mellon, all these other guys, but in this particular case, it was Elizondo and Tom DeLonge on the stage together saying, this is what we're doing. So, it's up to you to draw the conclusion you want. He left the DOD, and a week later, he's making this announcement, with Tom, and then a month or two later, we've got the film footage.
And
you can connect the dots.
Well, I agree with that, but what it's going to be like over the next couple of weeks. There's going to be those that are going to say, Tom is just a tool here, that the narrative is being pushed by people that are outside, and whether Tom was involved or not, this was going to happen. It has nothing to do with To the Stars. To the Stars is just the machine to push this disclosure out.
Hey, man, if we're the machine to push disclosure out, I think I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking.
I'm okay being a tool. It's all right. If what we're getting out of this is disclosure, and we're getting truth, and we're getting these videos, and we're getting the government saying, well, yeah, kind of, yeah, then make me a tool. I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'll live with that.
I'm writing it down now. Peter Levenda says I'm okay with being a tool.
Peter Levenda is the tool.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Man, and
well, let's put it this way. I'm okay if Tom DeLonge is the tool. Let's put it this way. Okay.
How do you feel now? You've been working on this for a couple of years and trying to get this out. It's one thing to write a book, publish a book. Okay, great. It's one thing. It's all of that, but this the mainstream media took it and ran with it. Now you guys are able to sit back and ride this out for a little while. How do you feel today?
Well, I never would have been involved with this project if it wasn't going to turn out to be what it's turning out to be now. If it was just going to be more of the same, it was not interesting to me. And when I first spoke with Tom's infectious where this is concerned. He was putting all of his resources behind getting to this point. And getting further than this, actually, but getting to this point, he was putting all of his resources behind it. And he said, we're going to do what we have to do. We're going to make whatever connections we have to. We may get burned here and there, but we're going to go forward. We're going to push forward. We're going to take a particular way of looking at this that the rest of the community has not taken. We're going to take a different kind of an approach. We're not going to be adversarial or confrontational. We're going to work with the powers that be as much as we can, while still maintaining our own integrity as researchers. In my case, I was not going to sacrifice my reputation. I have a certain degree of credibility, in the kind of stuff that I do, that I research. I like everything to be documented, everything to be supported with evidence. My books, I think, illustrate that. So I didn't want to do anything that was going to harm that. And Tom and I spoke about this in the very beginning and how legitimate he wanted to go. And I said, okay, if you're going to do it this way, then I'm on board, because this is the most important facet of human experience, I think, that's hanging out there. It's the one big, huge unknown that's sitting there. It's like the elephant in the room, and everything that we're doing around it, kind of. But we always get back to this point. What was that thing in the sky?
That's right.
What is this all about? What does it imply for our understanding of reality, for our understanding of physics and of genetics and all of the rest of it? What does this imply? So I'm happy that it got to this point. Do I feel vindicated, which may be what is behind your question, or justified, or have justification in some cases? Yeah, but like I say, I knew we were going to do this. The last time we spoke, last time we had an interview, I realized there was a lot of pushback. There was a lot of doubt. People were saying a lot of things. This is just, this is either a hoax or Tom is being used or whatever. I knew that wasn't the case, but there was very little that I could say until we dropped the videos, right? Until we started talking about actual evidence. So now that it's there, I think now we can start to pick up the conversation and start talking about this stuff for real. We can now go to this intellectually with a certain amount of integrity and discipline where the subject matter is concerned, and we can start talking, okay, now we can go from here, and now what? What's the next step, right? What do we do now? How do we push this further rather than spin our wheels, right? So this is an opening. We have an opening now. And as people in the government have told us, and they've told us from different sources, they said, listen, the way our government works, they're not going to really address this thing. They're not going to address your concerns in a big way unless you make some noise. You've got to be making the noise. The people have got to be demanding more and more response from their government on this issue. If the government is pressed to it, then we will get more information out. But we have to, unite ourselves and say, listen, tell us more. Tell us what you know. Tell us what's really going on. If you don't know, tell us that too. Whatever it happens to be, just tell us the truth.
Now, this is, when we look at your research with your famous secret space program presentation, connecting the dots all the way through Kennedy, through to today. That door was never closed. That was like an open-ended, if you know what I mean. And now this next step I can imagine now what that presentation would be like now. That would be extended through to today. but the door is still open. This doesn't close the door on anything, does it?
No, of course not. This is I don't know what door would be closed. It might close the door on some of the doubt that was out there that the government was taking this seriously, because the general consensus out there in the mainstream media, particularly until today, was that the government was not taking this stuff seriously, so you shouldn't take it seriously, right? If we're not concerned, why should you be concerned? Or if we don't believe it, why should you believe it? Well, now we have a different kind of approach. Now we have information from the government that says, well, yeah, we are following this up. We've been spending money trying to figure out what this stuff is, and now we're showing you what we've got. We're starting to lay their cards on the table. So that's not a closed door by any means. It's a closed door maybe where institutionalized doubt is concerned. Maybe we can now all start talking about this stuff like, intelligent human beings, and just start saying, yes, okay, now what? The phenomenon exists. It's real. We've seen it. The government itself has said so. Harry Reid spent money, following this up. We know there's something there. So now let's talk reasonably and sensibly about it, and let's figure out what the hell this is.
It's just an extraordinary day. It's almost too much to take in. We've wanted this. Now we've got it. And I don't know. It's kind of like the first time you get a new car. I'm being serious. You're all excited. Then you go and you get the car and you drive it home. Now what do? Right now, we've got to take this to the next step, and I'm not sure how my mind is going to be dealing with this tomorrow. I'm going to wake up and go, did yesterday even happen? Wow, you know what I mean?
Exactly. But the nice thing is we've got more coming, right? So there's more stuff that's going on. The To the Stars people just didn't stop there and say, okay, we're done, we're out of here. Right?
Right.
This is just the first beginning. This is the first drop. So, we've got a lot more coming.
Thank you so much, Peter, for taking the time tonight, and exciting days ahead, my friend. Exciting days.
Absolutely.
And I hope you feel great.
Thanks a lot, Jimmy.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Peter. Peter Levenda, peterlevenda.com. All of the information that you need for Peter's right there. And, of course, Secret Machines, God's Man of War. He's got another book coming out. He's got the follow-up to, anyway, that's Peter Levenda. Thank you so much, Peter. Now, I'm going to go. I can go. I didn't say, I said shoot. I was going to say, should I? Should I continue? I can keep this thing running. Let me come over here and let me do this. Yes, the answer is yes. Let's do it now, because I've got more special. I've got some more special things going on here. Some guests coming in. Okay, let's do this. Dan Willis, are you there?
Jimmy, what a pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine. My goodness gracious. Now, before I even get started, Dan, with you, and if you go back to how you've been involved with Disclosure, here we are now. This is 2017. Did you ever think that this day would come?
I always hoped it would. It started for me back in 1969, with a high-level top secret clearance in the Navy, and receiving reports from ships reporting extraterrestrial craft, glowing reddish-orange, about 70 feet in diameter, merging out of the ocean off of port bow and going about 7,000 miles, shooting straight up off the coast of Alaska.
Right.
Classified, priority, secret classification, going to Chief Naval Operations. So it always put a seed in the back of my mind that these things are real, because this is an official authenticated message. Years later, I worked with the government with all their communication systems for about 13 years, Naval Electronic Engineering Center, and afterward went with my brother up to the mountains in Arizona to see this Hopi Indian chief friend of his, and we had a craft fly about 100 feet right over our head, so that took it out of the realm of speculation from my head.
Right.
And it wasn't until my girlfriend and I, we kind of crashed a cocktail party. She wanted to go to this UFO conference, and I really wasn't interested, the same old stuff, And I went in this cocktail party. I was holding a glass of wine and some hors d'oeuvres, and Dr. Greer came up and said, "Oh, can I try one of these?" And I said, "Oh, by the way, when I was in the Navy, I had a topic, because I heard what he was going to be doing, going to Washington with all these witnesses, Anyway, one of them chickened out, and so I volunteered to fill in. Here it was.
You're not giving yourself enough credit, because your part of your testimony at the press club was some of the best. Okay, so don't even I was a fill-in guy. It's funny to hear you say that, because your testimony was extraordinary, and I can't even believe it's been that long ago. 2001. One thinks about that, it seems like it was yesterday, but like I said, here we are in 2017. What did you think as the news started to break today?
I didn't, I just, Bill just give me a heads up on what came out on New York Times. It's kind of interesting. I've been watching, I used to be a broadcast engineer for most powerful FM station on the West Coast and an ABC newsman. So when I went to the press club, I thought, my God, I did think my testimony was lightweight compared to some of these guys, bases on the other side of the moon, 57 different species already categorized, airbrushing UFOs out with NASA, on and on and on, that we have solutions to get off of nuclear, oil, and coal, and these technologies, and faster than light, all the stuff which, I couldn't imagine, 22 cameras in the back row, how this stuff could get out there, and the mainstream, media, this wouldn't be like, change everything. So after, we were on CNN and all this, CNN did what I call a limited hangout the CIA does, where they covered the event and said, yes, we want to have a congressional hearing, but it made it sound like, the reality of UFOs. You want to have a congressional hearing on the reality. We've got hundreds of witnesses, right? And all this, testimonies, and each one of us, all 20 of the witnesses, each of us stated that we're willing to testify under oath before Congress, which is a penalty of perjury. And, you have we were only 20 out of 500, well, it was 450 at the time, witnesses that Dr. Greer started collecting, after the CIA director led him on that he's being denied access. And then it was sometime around 97 that he was having a Pentagon meeting along with Edgar Mitchell, with the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Tom Wilson, who was made aware of some of these unacknowledged special access programs where he was denied access, and he told Stephen, if you can get your people together to go before the media, you have my permission. This is the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Right. This group is, quote, illegal, and so that's what we have. Everything is, as you look into this, Jimmy, and I'm sure everybody who's listeners who are paying attention to all this stuff, it really seems as though the Nazis did a very effective psychological warfare infiltration, and we've been generationally indoctrinated into a false reality that has been keeping all this secret all this time. And and it's kind of encouraging to see this coming out, because after CBS wanted me to do an interview exclusively with them after I was on, CNN with the rest of the witnesses. And I said, I'm only willing to do this unless I can say we have the scientists within these black projects willing to come forth in open congressional secrecy-free hearing, prove it, put it on the table. We've got a solution. It's been hidden for 60 years that could get us off these dangerous, obsolete technologies. Right. They promised up and down. I kept, like a 10-second statement, really short. Afterward, they interviewed me for 45 minutes. The producer was almost in tears. He says, I know I promised, but the higher executives, Reid CIA, made me cut that part out. And so media company...
That's always the agenda. That's always it. No matter what, you know how the story is going to end. The media will always run with their own narrative. But today, Dan, that wasn't the case. The mass media, mainstream media, chose to run with this Pentagon disclosure, UFO, Black Project, Harry Reid story, and it got coverage all over the world. Was it because of Harry Reid, the Pentagon, or was it Tom DeLonge? Why did they change their minds today?
Well, at the highest level, this is controlled. And, Daniel Sheehan, who was one of the 20 witnesses, shared with me a document that the higher executives in mainstream media listed 42 of them, CIA, NSA, whose main job is to sanitize this stuff because it doesn't reach the public.
Right.
So if this stuff is coming out through the New York Times of all places, then they've got a green light to put this out. For what reason, we will probably find out soon.
Yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree. Dan, thank you for taking the time tonight. We've got to get you on Fade to Black for a full-blown night here very soon. Thank you so much, my friend.
I would love to, Jimmy. So much more to say.
I know. What an exciting day. Thank you, Dan.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Dan Willis. And what is so great about Dan is, he was one of the original witnesses that did the testimony at the press club back in 2001. What a great day it must be for him. Let's stay on the phones here. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy, this is Dick.
Hi,
from
Dick.
Mercer Island.
Hey, how are you, man?
We're pretty good. How are you doing?
Well, obviously, it's been an amazing day.
I know this is the first chance I've had to call in, and I've been a fader now for a little bit, and I met you at Contact in the Desert, and was down there when we saw the UFOs.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, you were excited. I mean, you got really excited. You were all over it. I looked at it and saw the UFO moving, slowing down, turning, powering up. I thought that was cool. I expected it. It fit my need. But what happened afterwards is the part that kind of freaked me out. I went back to my car and went back to my hotel.
Yep.
And, I went to the parking lot. My lights wouldn't go off. And my car's a 2014 and a half.
Right.
Nothing's ever gone wrong with it. The light overhead wouldn't go off. So I go and I'm playing around with the switch. It took me about 15 minutes. And I said, I just give up. I don't know what I'm going to do. My battery's going to die. So I just shut the door and went off. Then I go and watch TV for about an hour. And I turn the TV off. The TV goes off, but the TV wouldn't turn off. It was still a gray screen. So I'm sitting there going, what's going on? Turn the TV on, off. I finally had to unplug the TV. Then I plugged it back in and turned it on, and it worked fine. And then afterwards, I headed over to my condo in Scottsdale, and a friend came over, and he was leaving, and he goes down to his car, and he gets in his car to leave. His car won't start. So I walk down to the car. All of a sudden, my phone turns off. And that's kind of freaking me out. It's all electrical stuff. And it turned out a starter burned out. Something fried his starter, and I don't know what that was. And then a couple days later, I'm walking into my bedroom in the condo, and I have a printer in there.
Uh-huh.
And I keep it on 24/7. And about 20, 30 sheets in there, because I print coupons and whatnot for restaurants and things. I walk into my bedroom. All of a sudden, my printer starts powering up. All 20 sheets go through.
Wow, kind of like it reminds me of Close Encounters when all the toys start playing at the same time.
Yeah, that's exactly. But it didn't really freak me out in a negative way. It's kind of like just confirmation, kind of in a really good way, And
well, what is today, Dick?
Yeah.
Today, what does today do for you after all of those experiences, and then boom, we have this massive disclosure through the mass media all around the world?
Well, it's good for me because a lot of my friends say, oh, yeah, I think there's something out there, but I'm not really sure, and my family and stuff like that. And there's kind of thing, well, you're obsessed over this. Of course, we all have OCD over this stuff. Right. We can't help it. I mean, this is just, we're hyper-focused on it. This is a really cool topic. And, I met Robert and got to know Robert Schock, and I like I said, I was at the table next to you at the George Norrie breakfast. I'm the one that got the photos of you and Rita and everybody else that was up there. He said, I've never seen these photos before. Well, I'll get those on. I'll get those to you when I get a chance to do it. But no, this is awesome. This is exactly what I've been expecting. It's kind of like, letting everybody else know that what we're talking about, what we're seeing is real. I got some bearing optic, night vision goggles. I love those. I'm drinking Life Change tea actually right now, and River Moon coffee every morning. I'm supporting it, and I encourage everybody else out there to support these guys. You can buy this stuff anywhere else you want, but these are the guys they're us.
Thank you.
You know, and so I'm supporting big time. You know, after contacting the desert, I went out. I became a fader. The Game Changer, the top one, whatever you have. Gaia, MUFON, Coast Insiders. I'm members of everything right now. No money left, but what the hell?
No. And today just makes it all worth it. And Dick, thank you so much for calling in and taking the time tonight, my friend.
And we'll see you down there this next year. And I might make it to the expo. I might not, but I will definitely see you, Jimmy.
I can't wait. Thank you so much, Dick.
You take care, buddy.
Go play some golf. Wear that faded black hat.
Go Beckley Tepe.
Thank you so much, Dick. Go Beckley Tepe to you. Let's stay on the phones. Hi, you're live on Faded Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. This is Olivia.
Olivia, how are you? Great day, huh?
I am just so excited about this and nervous at the same time because I'm wondering why is it all of a sudden, why today? Why the disclosure all of a sudden?
Well, I don't know. And see, Olivia, there's a couple of other things to mention. Tom DeLonge over the last couple of days was posting one more day, arg, right? Now you have to.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah. And so now he was working with the New York Times. New York Times is following up. They have to vet everything, right? They don't just post something and print it in the paper. So they got to go through their whole vetting process. Now we know that the Pentagon was involved. We know about black projects. We know that Senator Harry Reid's involved. You have the release of the video that has to happen at the same time. So and all of the other pieces to this puzzle that were all in there. So one more day. Now we know. And so it could have been yesterday. It could have been the day before. It happened to be today, and I think that's as soon as it could be done. Having it on a Saturday instead of a Monday, the news cycle, I don't know. I
haven't had a chance to see the news, but I'm going to record it to see exactly what's going on and how long this story is going to continue. Just how hot of a topic is it going to be on the news, or whether they're just going to let it die like they do many other stories, and they just kind of touch on it. I'm curious about that. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, okay, is this disclosure because the Pentagon doesn't really have a choice?
I totally agree, Olivia.
If there's something else a little bit higher in authority than anything here on this planet that's in play.
Right.
Considering the government has been in touch, and we know that they've been working, we've heard those stories about how they've been here and may have had something to do with seeding us on this planet.
Right. Olivia, you're exactly right. I want you to relax a little bit in your own mind's eye, knowing that you're exactly right. We have to understand all of those points. To have this, what appears to be, some of it's in the Pentagon's hands. I think all of it now is out of the Pentagon's hands. Yesterday it was, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yesterday it was, they controlled it a little bit. Today, now, with the mainstream media onto a story that the Pentagon had a black budget program that spent $22 million running in the background that the public didn't know about, that was a UFO project. I think there's I think there is I think there's a story there now. And with everything that is going on in Washington, they want anything they can do. So now it's not just CNN, and it's not just Fox, it's not just MSN. It's everybody has a hold of this story now. So yeah, it is beyond. Now, see, this is the other thing, and let me really give you a strange thing to think about. Now we have all those white hats, anonymous, WikiLeaks, all of that in the background that now have the ability to go and probe this story and find out where it can go. So think about that. So no, I disagree. I wanted to stay focused on what how you asked the question. I don't think the Pentagon has control of it. I don't. And you know what? You're like the fourth person to mention this to me tonight. So obviously everybody is worried about this. You know, we don't want this. We don't want this to go away, do we?
No, and I think that these entities, however many council are involved with this planet, want to see us succeed, want to see us move forward, but it could also possibly be because there's something else at play that places us and this planet in peril.
Right.
And so that concerns me, as it should concern everybody, really, and what we're going to be able to do about that.
Yeah, and that's where I want everybody to have comfort, including you, in knowing that this is a situation, and this is a narrative and a story that we are in control of. We wanted this moment to happen. Now it has. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think we can relax. Like I said, and I really mean this, Olivia. Let's glow for a couple of days, okay? Let's glow.
Oh, I have been. A matter of fact, when I saw it coming out, I couldn't stop myself. I kept showing a few people what was on the Twitter page, and I looked at them, and some of the reactions I got were smirks, because I think a lot of people that have not been following this, as close as those of us in this community.
Right.
They still, like you said, I think they could land in the middle of the freeway, and they'd look, and then they'd say, okay, hurry up, I have somewhere I have to be, get out of the way.
Yep. That's it.
And that, it's not until, I hate to say this, but for those of us that have wanted this and want to move forward, in this world, to see it be a better place, I think we're the ones that are going to start off on the good foot. Everybody else, however, I think they're gonna struggle. There's going to be a lot of struggle.
Let's hope not, but you may be right.
Yeah. I hope not either.
Yeah, I want you to be wrong.
To hope for the best.
That's right.
Root. But yeah. When we haven't exactly had the best track record. So.
And have a great rest of your evening and enjoy it. Go glow. Thank you, Olivia.
Oh, I am glowing. Thank you, Jimmy. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you so much, Olivia. I'm going to stay on the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Tanette.
Hi, Tanette. How are you feeling?
Awesome, actually. The news today was very cool, but I wanted to point out that in that article, they basically are saying that they recovered material from crash sites and we're studying it, and they don't know what it is.
Yes, and they're collecting it, and they have it all in some undisclosed location. I did read that. It was
in they said Las Vegas.
But they're not giving the address is what I'm saying. But yeah, pretty interesting. And they also said something about some type of plastic that was conductive. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I'm just like, what does that even mean?
So basically, they're telling you that they opened a warehouse, for lack of a better description in Las Vegas, and they modified the building in order to house this crash site stuff that they retrieved, and they still don't know what it is. They said it was like I don't remember the name, but they said it was like somebody playing with a garage door opener in our time.
Right. I read that. I still don't know what to make of it. To have, and this was, I think it was Elizondo that said that they were collecting all of this metallic stuff, debris, wreckage, and materials, and didn't know what to do with it all, and had to warehouse it into this warehouse in Las Vegas, where they are continuing to analyze this material. And one of the things that was confusing them was a material made of plastic that was conductive. I'm like, wow.
Right.
Well, see, here, at least in our timeline, plastic is what we use as something that's non-conductive. We use it as an insulator, right? And now they've got some type of conductive plastic. It was absolutely fascinating to hear. So, and again, thank you for the phone call. Do you feel good?
Oh, yeah.
Today was a pretty amazing
awesome,
day.
Even though there may be, we don't know what's behind this media leak, but whatever it is, it's good.
Yeah, and that's the only
in
one.
a general way.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the phone call. We have to look at everything like that. We just have to. Oops, I think I just hung up on the wrong. Oh, man. I'm not even going to tell you who I just hung up on. And I was waiting for that phone call all night. Oh, man. Okay. Well, you know what? That's the way it goes. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, my name is Dana. How are you tonight, Jimmy?
I'm doing fine. Dana, how are you? Pretty crazy day, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, I missed the first part. I actually just got home from work. I work at Sprouts, and it's been pretty hectic here with the holidays. So, yeah, I just heard that your last gentleman's comments about, I guess it was UFOs with he's a firefighter and he got some really good footage. Is that what I was?
Oh, you haven't read the news today?
No, I didn't. Oh, well, no, I saw a clip from Secure Team 10 about something that the government, I haven't had a chance to review it, but did they release a photo or video?
No, it's
footage?
much big. It's much bigger than that.
Well, I do have to say real quick, I was at, and I know you had him on the other day because I was very excited. I went to a David Icke show in Richmond, California, right next to the Rosie Riveter Museum, and I was thrilled because I would never listen to David Icke in a million years had I not had the experiences I had after my father passed away in my arms. And I had some amazing experiences, and I just had to share that with you and your viewers and listeners.
Well, thank you, Dana. And after you hang up, what you need to do is you need to go and read some of the mainstream media today. We had Disclosure today.
We did.
Yes.
Stephen Greer. I got his
Not
documentary. I'm
Stephen
wearing
Greer.
his shirt around town in Reno, Nevada. I swear to God. What?
Yes.
We had Disclosure today?
Yes. So go read the
The reason
news.
why I'm calling you is oh my gosh, I did not hear that. Because my phone, I didn't pay my phone bill because they cut my hours at work. What happened, Jimmy?
Yeah, well, there you go. Go and read. Go and read. It's
Okay, I will.
crazy what happened today. Dana, have a great night.
Who's yelling in the background?
Somebody,
I'm sorry.
I don't know, but I'm going to find out, okay? Have a good night.
Oh, are you cutting me off?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I've got all these calls, and I've got to wrap up the show.
I know.
I know, Dana.
I know you do. I just want to say I was in the front row at a David Icke show, and it was amazing.
He is
12
amazing.
hours.
12
Holy
hours.
cow.
No doubt.
He was amazing, though. But disclosure happened. I am so blessed.
Yeah, go read.
I had my own experiences.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dana.
Hey, God bless. Thank you
too.
for what you do.
Thank you. And hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi.
Hi, you're live. Who's this?
Hi, this is Jimmy also.
Hey, Jimmy. How are you?
Good. Just curious, people in the UFO community generally pretty skeptical of the government. So why would anyone believe the government now?
That's always the issue. You've got to be prepared for that kind of paradox. We want disclosure from the government, but we don't trust the government. So you've got to roll that dice, and you've got to take that risk, right? Because anything else less than that, then you don't have disclosure, do you?
Well, just a little bit confused because I looked up. If you go on the UFO Reddit page,
right,
you'll find a post by some individual who, through the Freedom of Information Act, requested through the Pentagon if there was any group such as the one disclosed today about a week ago, and they denied all knowledge of any group existing.
Those Freedom of Information Act requests go back for years, and they have always denied this. And today they have confirmed it. So, there's no question about that. Now, if you're going off of one post a week ago on Reddit, what I would suggest is go spend some time on the Black Vault, where all of the Freedom of Information Act requests and all those documents that continue on to this day are all posted there. There's probably 10 million documents, and none of them confirm what we found out today. So, yeah, absolutely right. Where do you put your trust in? I have no idea. But, Jimmy, thank you. Thank you.
Just one last question.
Yeah.
And I think I speak for everybody who's listening. What are your projections a year ago, 1 year from today? What do you think is going to be disclosed?
Well, absolutely, Jimmy, thank you. And I'll answer that now. It's that I have the same answer today that I had last week, the week before, and the week before, and the week before. I knew that it was getting ready to go down. I knew it. And I just felt that it was heading in this direction very, very quickly. And I think that 2018, it's going to be equally as crazy. I really, really do. I think it's going to continue. What I wanted to have happen today doesn't confirm anything for me, but it confirms everything else out there for everybody that has been looking for these moments, because we've been waiting for this. And that's still, I have the exact same position now as I did last month. Today, with everything that happened, I'm happy for everybody else. I want everybody to go and glow. All right? So there you go,
All right.
Jimmy. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Great phone call. All right, let's go back to the phones over here. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, it's Ziggy again, Jimmy.
Hey, Ziggy, how are you, man?
Okay, brother. Great Saturday night to have you on the air.
Man, I'm glad you got back through. The phones are lit up, man, but it's so good to hear your voice. Thank you so much.
Yeah, buddy. I've been thinking about Jim Moore, man. If he just could have held out just a little bit longer.
That ain't right, is it? That ain't right. Right there.
I said all I want to do was live long enough to find out the truth. I found out the truth. Now I can die happy.
Man, you're absolutely right. So there you go, man. So how are you feeling? You've been with this show and a friend for so long. You must be feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, doing good. I just I got your back. Okay. I had some Life Change tea. I went and drank some Black Moon coffee, and I took some tonight. Okay, that should get you through the next 3 hours.
I'm drinking my River Moon coffee right now as we speak. Yeah, I just realized I just did 2.5 hours, no commercial breaks, no bathroom breaks.
Man, you've been flying.
Yeah, man. And you know what? I'm just going to ride this out. Might as well just keep this train a rolling. But you know, you've been with the show for so long, and a day like this happens. As you started to and share this with me, Zig, I know that you started to click through and started to look at the mainstream media, and you're having those holy crap moments. How do you feel?
Man, I got on the damn phone and started calling my friends and the ones we discuss all the time. And I think it's great. I said, hey, it's real. It's real. Don't call me crazy anymore.
I know, right? Now,
yeah, it's great.
How do you think the law enforcement across this country and some of those, how they're going to deal with this from now on?
Well, take it serious. Half my my brothers were, they saw stuff.
Right.
I saw my first one 73, 74.
Right.
So, been a long time. And, right down here, just like 40 miles from where, in Pascagoula, where they grabbed those two fishermen.
Right.
Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Long time, like 69 or whatever it was, or
Bo and Bob,
same time.
Yeah, whatever I can't remember their names. I'm making fun of them now.
Yeah.
But you know how the media made fun of them forever, and
Yep.
now they get the last laugh. Hey Ziggy,
I'm thinking about Travis too.
Hey Ziggy, you know how much I love you, and I've got your letter framed on the wall right here in the bunker. You have a great night.
Okay, Merry Christmas, Jimmy.
Merry Christmas,
Bye-bye.
Ziggy. The best right there. Ziggy is a detective, law enforcement detective for years. And he sent me, probably it's been a couple of years now, but he sent me the pick of destiny. And I've got it right here. I do have the pick of destiny. All right, let's stay on the phones. Man, these phone lines are crazy right now. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
This is Michael again. There was a lot of things that I didn't get to go over the first time.
Hey, Mike, I've got a lot of phone calls here, man. Really quick. You ducked in. Give me one.
I feel like it's extremely interesting that after I heard of Project Mockingbird being disabled, that these UFOs, the information came out. And I feel also that 2018 is going to have events as significant as people expected in 2012.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree.
And I think personally that this is such an indescribable blessing for me that I usually don't get to talk to people like this.
Well, well, like I said earlier, Michael, thank you for the phone call and the phone call earlier, and I really mean this.
Look forward to a great 2018.
Absolutely, and that when that solar flare happens, let's see. I've been waiting for this for a long time. So stay on the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Mike from Winnipeg.
Hi, Mike from Winnipeg. How are you?
Pretty good, sir. I'm pretty excited about today's news.
Yeah, pretty exciting, huh?
Yes, sir. Hey, I had a quick question. Do you think it's possible, since now that there's disclosure, that we might see more instances of extraterrestrial ships?
I would say it would be the same amount, but I think that we'll have more people admitting to seeing them. If you know what I mean, because they're not going to be as scared. So absolutely, today was a big day, and I'm happy for everybody else. So are the crafts going to? No, I think all of that's going to be the same, but we're going to have more people willing to come forward and talk about it that wouldn't before, because they don't want to be ridiculed. They don't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, another thing, too, I've chatted on social media with some other folks, and they brought up the point about the fact that the DoD didn't release the location or the date. Is it possible that they haven't released the location and the date of that particular video?
No, they have. They have.
Typically,
They have.
Oh, Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was off the coast of California. It was the USS Nimitz off of out of San Diego on a training mission. And I have posted. I don't have it in front of me, but I have the actual dates and times. So no, it's out there.
Okay. Great. And there, one last thing with respect to the chain of custody documents. Have you seen those documents yet? Can we validate the attestation of the custodians on the chain of custody?
There's no need for it. You know why? The pilot's name is out. There you go. And his wingman, and the flight control officer, and the ship, and the date. There's no need for a chain of custody. You know what I mean? Not this time. Not this time, Michael. Hey, man, have a great night, my friend.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Yeah, thank you. Man, I love international calls. What a crazy day. Okay, let's open up. Let's do this here. Whoa, man, I wish you guys could see my screens here and how I am dancing with these phone calls. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Awesome. This is Blair.
Blair? Blair, how are you?
I'm awesome. You know, I've been struggling so much just to get through school, and I was studying for like 1,000 hours, and I could not believe when I came back to tune in and look at the news, and I thought to myself, you know, well, you know, it's like in The Great Gatsby, Fitzgerald wrote one point, he said, it was as if a tuning fork was struck upon a star.
Yeah, right.
And
right,
right. And you know, I'm thinking to myself, there must be so many people going, "Oh, this is yet another level of a pernicious manipulation on the part of the deep state, and this and that." And I'm like thinking to myself, "Yeah, so what? Everything is some attempt by them to do that, but." Could it possibly be that something just actually happened?
Right.
It might.
Not not this time around though. That's the beauty of it, right?
And I'm thinking to myself, is there actually a chance that for once I'll have some I'll be able to refer to, like, you know, some, you know, delegated authority, like in the mainstream media, to in response to my friends and people that have denigrated me for like 1,000 years on this subject.
And that's why
it's going to be beautiful.
No, exactly. And so and just remember that. Thank you for the phone call too, by the way. Just remember this. Pleasure. Tonight's the night that you can just kick back with a smile on your face as you go to sleep. For real. Right? That's the day that we've had today. Hey, Michael, thank you so much.
Man.
Yeah, thank you so much, my friend.
It's Blair, but thank you.
Blair,
have a good night.
Thank you, Blair. That's how many phone calls I've taken tonight too, as well. Let's go here. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
This is Ken calling you from Roanoke, Virginia.
Hey, Ken from Roanoke, Virginia. Crazy day, huh?
Oh, you're telling me, man. You're telling me. I've been enjoying. I've been listening for the past hour or so, and I hear a lot of, I don't want to say fears, I guess. And the reality is, in this whole situation, this is like, I don't know, the first game of a full baseball season. You know, I mean, this is just the opening inning,
right? Where
this stuff is coming out. Don't get caught up in the details. I mean, they're beautiful. They're awesome. It's great to hear. But what brought us here is the consciousness, is believing, like you've been saying. I mean, it's interesting because when someone calls, you're like, how do you feel? You know, rarely is it, what do you think? It's, how do you feel? What does this feel like? You know, and if this is going to be a consciousness shift, that's where it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, this is just manifesting where everything's going anyways.
Well, I mean, you know, it takes away the question. That's the whole thing. It takes away the question. When somebody goes, well, you know, man, you know, I don't believe, you know, I don't, you know, it's just like, dude, they're real.
Yeah.
Take that away. Take you and yourself away. And all of those, all the skeptics out there, the Michael Shermers of the world, right? All of that, you can just laugh. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you for the phone call and enjoy the rest of your night. Yep. Thank you, man. I'm going to try to squeeze in as many calls as I can here before the end of the night. Okay. And so if you're on hold, man, I am juggling. There's no way I'm going to be able to get it all in. I'm going to go to this one for, hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Jimmy, Casper Park.
Hey, Casper, you feeling pretty good, man?
Yeah, I am. I didn't get. I've been real busy all day today, moving the 3 websites around, or 4 now actually. So that is. I think it's great what they're doing. It'd be interesting down the road to see. I missed a good chunk of the show, so I apologize if I was on the road. It'd be interesting to see if there's any admission down the road to the cover-ups from like Roswell and other stuff like that.
That's right.
I don't know if that was discussed earlier.
Yep. No. All of that has to come into play now. So now Roswell is in front. Rendlesham is in front. Malmstrom Air Force Base is in front. Travis Walton is in front. Betty and Barney Hill. We can go on and on and on and on how this plays out in the future. You're absolutely right, Casper. And you know what? Your next book is going to kick ass. So think about that.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to put that out there. I think it'll be interesting to see, because they're just saying, well, we're looking into it, we're researching it. They're not admitting a lot of stuff, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, but Casper, we've always talked about this. Once it happens, now they've got to go back and say, okay, well, we've been lying for 70 years, and they got a lot of nasty skeletons in the closet that have to be cleaned up. And so they're going to have to move forward thinking about all of this. They're going to have public relations people and marketing people sitting around a table with the the Department of Defense, figuring out the best way to control this and roll it out. So there you go. Is it a great day? It is, but they are going to have to deal with this. They are. All right?
I think so. I get other calls coming out. I'll let you go. Have a good evening and a good weekend, everyone. Thank you.
Enjoy yourself, Casper. I know you're in a great mood. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
This is Gabriel.
Hey, Gabriel. How are you, man?
Very good, Jimmy. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, man, come on. You don't need to ask me that question. How are you doing, though?
Madness.
It's crazy.
I am glad
yes,
that Casper kind of was talking what he was talking about. Oh, shit.
What? Did I lose
lost you, Jimmy.
Okay, well, I think I'm losing you.
Hello, there you are.
Okay.
I hear you.
Okay. Come on, Gabriel. We got just a minute or 2 left before the end of the show. So
I know. I can't believe it's fading out.
Yeah.
This is killing me.
All right. I'll tell you what. I'll let you go. Call me back, and I'll put you to the front of the line. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
I know. I can't believe it's fading out.
Turn me down in the background.
Hello?
Turn me down.
Sorry. Hang on. It's Naomi from Australia.
Oh, hi, Naomi. Turn me down in the background, though.
I'm so excited today.
I know. Crazy, isn't it?
It's just insane. It's been, I can't even count how many years now.
Right.
More than 5 years that I've just been looking into this for so long, and it's just amazing.
It is amazing, and just
lifetime.
I know. Keep control of yourself now, though. Keep control. But yeah, pretty amazing day, isn't it?
Very, very. So exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I so many tonight have said that we've spoken to tonight. Today is one thing. Let's enjoy the moment, right? But now, what is tomorrow going to bring? How is the mainstream media going to continue with this? I know that they will. Now that we have the Pentagon involved and the Department of Defense, the former Senate Majority Leader, Harry Reid, the United States Navy and their footage that they released, we've got a lot of questions that need to be answered moving forward. So there's no way that the story ends today.
There's so many things, like you say, to come out, and it's just going to be amazing that we get to see it all in our lifetime.
I know, and we get to laugh at everybody too that always thought that, that tin, right?
Yes.
Those crazy tinfoil hat. Those people are crazy. No, you know what? It's you that's crazy, and that's what we get. We get to enjoy this. Oh man, yeah. I just can't even believe it. And to think that the amount of people in this audience that can now relax, that have wanted to call in tonight. The phones have been crazy. Why? Because now we can just go, you know what? That question's been answered. Now we get to move on. Somebody just posted Alien Disclosure Day 12/16/17. Wow. Yeah, 12/16/17 was the day. Wow, pretty amazing. Naomi, thank you.
Calling in and everything. Thank you so much, and thank you to Rita.
Thank you. And how do you feel, though? I mean, how do you feel? You sound like you're on the brink of tears, tears of joy. But how do you feel?
I didn't think it through. I get really nervous, but so excited. Just, validated a little bit, maybe.
Right.
Just a little bit at least. But like you say, we'll see what comes tomorrow, and it's just so exciting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And by the way, I'll let you know, I checked the numbers today. Australia is our number 2 audience. And that says an awful lot to pull ahead of the UK and Canada. And I looked at the numbers today, and you guys are like 13% of our audience. What? And it's crazy. So thank you so much. Thank you, Naomi.
Good stuff, guys. Thank you, Jimmy. Have a great night.
You too. Australia is such a big part of our audience. I mean, I look at these numbers and I'm just blown away. Woo, man. Okay, I cleared through all of those. Okay, so 323. I've got enough time here for a couple of more phone calls. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. I can't believe I haven't lost my voice. 2 hours and 50 minutes of straight phone calls. Now, we've heard from tonight. Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to put this at the front of the line. Gabriel, do you have a clean line now?
I do. I'm on a landline.
Okay, good. All right. Well, crazy day, huh? Did you ever think that you would see this day happen?
No. I don't want to compare it to something negative, and I really shouldn't, but the only time I've ever felt this, numb and, surreal moment was, this is going to sound really bad, but when I was watching 9/11 happen on TV.
I knew that comparison was going to come from somebody. Yeah, I hear you.
That's how it feels to me, because my hands, because we were coming home from dinner, and Cherie's like, Jimmy's live. And I was like, what's going on? Because we don't watch the news. We don't watch national television. I'm not much of, I've been keeping my phone away from, not being so divey no more on the phone. And I start going through this as you're talking, as the calls are coming through, and I'm just like, oh my God, and I'm like, I don't even know what to say. I'm just so lost for words. And I really loved how my call was right after Casper, because he brought up exactly what I was saying, and that's kind of my exasperation. Is it's like now people are saying, oh, well, this is just one thing and it's no big deal, and tomorrow it's going to be no big deal, and it's like, no, you don't understand. Now, what about all the other things that they've said weren't true? What about all the other instances where we've fought tooth and nail with information that Linda Moulton Howe have had that, I could go down the list, Jimmy. We could go on for another 10 minutes of all the people that have this valid information that we look at, and from our side of discernment, people like Allison have screamed at us all about, is be discerning and look.
Right.
And the things that we look at, and we say, the one that I want to bring up that comes to mind is Josh. Oh man, it's
Well, okay, but continue with the thought, though.
Go ahead.
No,
but the one down in Cuba, the military footage that they had in Cuba of that sphere that was just like darting along across the with the heat signature.
Oh, Joshua P. Warren. That was Puerto Rico.
Joshua P. Warren.
Right, Puerto Rico.
Correct.
Yes.
Puerto Rico. And I mean that footage, and I mean a lot of people are saying it's doctored, it's photoshopped, and so on and so forth. But I mean when you watched it, it's like the footage that I just watched earlier today. The thing, Linda Moulton Howe explains exactly what that plane that is following it is, and that is a fast plane, and it's got very high-tech equipment that is following this object, and it literally looks like it's standing still, traveling against the wind at who knows how many miles per hour.
Right.
And then it just slowly spins, like as soon as they start talking about it, like almost like it's consciously aware that these two guys are looking at it, talking about it, and it's like, are you guys looking at me? And it slowly spins around like, are you guys looking at me? And it that's how it felt when you're watching the video, because these guys they're excited but yet a little fearful. They're like, what is this?
Right.
And they're at a loss for words. And I mean that's how I feel about the video. It's one of those videos that we've seen before, but it's not the kind of video where there's no DOD saying it's true. There's no Harry Reid coming out saying there's things. There's no government, outright, yes, we're investigating this because this may be something true. No, it's concrete now. And it's real. And it's like, holy crap.
Yeah, when that thing rotates,
tomorrow?
Gabriel, when that thing rotated, and the way, it's not that it turned or rotated, it's how it did it. It was not anything that was, like I keep saying, analog, like man analog, an airfoil, wind, anything that we were used to seeing. I don't care if it's a rocket. Everything that we deal with has a certain propulsion system behind it that involves moving air or burning something, pressure. That's not what was going on there. That was something
against
from
our physics.
It was a video game, man. It was like it was on. Yeah. It was the crazy, and it was just It was just like it just rotated and stopped. It was like, wait a minute here. Plus, Larry Holcomb brought up the one thing that I just wanted to stay away from. It was a frigging flying saucer. That's the shape it had. It had some, with the dome and the thing off the bottom and the top and the thing. I'm just like, man, this is way too much for my little head. So there you go, man.
So cliche, but there it is.
There it is. And it's a government released video. So, hey, Gabriel, thank you so much, man. I know you've been waiting for this day for a long time. Give my best to Cherie. And we'll see you next week on the show. In the meantime, man, just enjoy the rest of your night. Go Beckley Tepe, okay?
Go Beckley Tepe.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Gabriel.
Thank you, Jimmy. Good night.
Good night. Man, it was so great to have him call in on a night like this. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? You're live.
Hello.
Yeah, you're live.
Oh, I'm calling from Australia. My name's Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy from Australia. The fourth phone call from Australia tonight.
How you going, Jimmy?
It's going good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, really well. Milestone day today, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
We'll see where we go from here.
Where do you think we go from here?
Well, the inevitable, an interstellar future, whether it happens, this year, next year, 10 years from now. I think this is a pretty good start.
Right.
There's many of us all over the planet that have been making contact for a long time, and we know the truth of the matter. And those of us that are in this position, I think, will facilitate the space for the general population to make their own contact and step into that space as well. So I called you because I wanted to send a message out to those in the contact arena, what people would call contactees, I guess. Those that practice CE5 or the Rama protocols, just to stay with the program, to stay with contact, stay in touch, keep on inviting them to come in and work with us, and extending out and doing what we're doing, because we are transforming our planet, and every bit helps. So, stay on track, everybody. It's just incredible the rate at which things are changing. We did quite a profound training event in Joshua Tree earlier this year and last year, and one of the things that came up for the team was that towards the end of this year, there would be some significant changes. So it's really exciting to see this happening now, because we can't keep on doing what we're doing to our planet. We can't keep on killing each other and staying in this divisive, horrible space of warfare and, fear-mongering and military and, the whole control drama. We need to really extend beyond that. Just love each other and then extend out into space with that energy, with that, and share that with the universe, which is our birthright as human beings, really.
Yeah, you're right about
that. I just wanted to share that with everybody, and I know I'm talking a bit off subject now, but
no, you're not, Jeremy.
It is inspiring.
But Jeremy, let me ask you this: I've got to go. I've got to end the show. But what part of Australia are you calling from?
I'm in the Northern Territory.
Which, okay.
Yeah. I had an extraterrestrial being with me the other day.
Really?
There we go.
Now, and see, this is the thing for me when it comes to Australia. You guys, one of the great UFO encounters in all of human history was right there in Westall in Melbourne. And that to me, to this day, I think it is as important of a UFO encounter as anything that we've experienced. But that happened right there in Melbourne and Westall. And now
there's
today,
a lot of space here,
Well, there is, but now today, with everything that happened today with disclosure, now we can go back and look at these specific cases, and Westall is one of them. So for all of those kids and teachers that were part of that have been called nuts over the years, can now go back and we can take another look at that case, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, it's time for us to become interstellar. It's time for us to live in harmony and peace with everybody. Let's just give up all the other drama.
Absolutely.
Let's just give each other a hug and say, well, what was all that about? That was just a big waste of time and energy. Let's get on with it now, please.
Let's get on with it. Thank you so much,
really,
Jeremy.
Seriously, let's just let all this old stuff go.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Be safe out there, man.
Pleasure. Thank you, Jimmy. Thanks for everything you do.
Thank you. Australia is such an important part of what we do. Our audiences, not only in Australia and Canada and the UK and all across Europe and Africa and, of course, Asia and Taiwan and Tokyo and Japan. I mean, just Korea. Thank you to all of our international audience. It is grown by so much. Australia freaks me out. We've got a ranking in that country that is starting to really blow my mind. Well, that's it. That wraps this very, very special edition. Hello to everybody out there of Fade to Black. I cannot believe I just did 3 straight hours without a break, but that's how important today was, not only to me, but to all of you out there. What an incredible day. Again, mainstream media ran with the story today of the Pentagon running a secret, covert UFO project out of the Pentagon. Tom DeLonge and To the Stars Media were involved with this. Leslie Kane and a couple of other writers released the story today over at the New York Times, which then was picked up by all of the mainstream outlets for news all around the world. A crazy day. The video from the Navy and everything else that goes along with this, December 16th, 2017, is truly a day that we will call the Day of Disclosure. And that wraps it for me here. Wow, what a day. What a day. Thank you to everybody that called in tonight. Of course, we had Grant Cameron, Linda Moulton Howe, Larry Holcomb, Peter Levenda, calling in tonight. And then all of the other callers, thank you so much. Heidi from the UK called in. Everybody from Australia, Canada, all around the world, thank you so much. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Kamarian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster, Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2017 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Wow, what a day. Until Monday, I want everybody to be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.